And we are live. How's it going, everybody? There we go. And we are live.
Scared.
How's it going, everybody? I'm not used to the delay. It's still throwing me off. What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Scared.
I'm not used to the delay. It's still throwing me off. What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Scared.
Checking my levels here. How's everybody hear us in the chat? You guys are our sound engineers tonight. Everybody hear our voices? Everybody hear us in the chat. You guys are
Testing. Can you hear us?
Tonight. Everybody hear our voices?
Testing. Can you hear us?
Everybody hear our voices?
Testing. Can you hear us?
Our levels overall.
Hopefully.
Seems quiet. Could be my TV. Good echo. Oh no, we've yeah, I know. That's mine. Yeah. I'm listening to the stream back in my headphones. That's why you're hearing it twice. Sorry about that.
You mean that'll just be temporary then?
Yeah, it's just temporary.
Yeah.
That's why you're hearing it twice. Sorry about that.
You mean that'll just be temporary then?
Yeah, it's just temporary.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my volume up a little bit more though.
You mean that'll just be temporary then?
Yeah, it's just temporary. All right. I'm going to bring my volume up a little bit more though. Seems quiet. Just double checking here. Hello, test. Yo.
Hello.
Seems quiet. Just double checking here. Hello, test. Yo.
Hello.
Okay, no more echo. Echo should be gone. All right. How's chat doing? Thanks for stopping by tonight, guys.
Hey, everyone.
Scarlet, Steel Zealot, Zombie Pops. What's going on, my man? How's the bug killing business? I've been doing termite job after termite job this week, and I'm tired of down rotting. I'm over it. I've done like 4 weeks worth of termite jobs in 1 week, just because of the cold weather. I don't really want to treat lawn this week because it's just been so windy and cold, and we're not used to that stuff here in Florida. So yeah, that's a thing. Just double checking on. No, not bad snowing, so bugs are dead. Yep, bugs never die in Florida. Bugs don't die, they multiply. That's why I'm always in business in the Sunshine State, it seems. Termite jobs are very good money. They pay very well. I can make my whole month, my personal goal month in a week, just doing termite jobs. It's really good money. But, that's what it is. Okay, I think we're ready to podcast.
Let's do it.
Double checking that. Oh, I know what I need to do. Hold on one sec. I need to just raise my volume just a little bit in the soundboard. Now, how is that? Is that a little bit louder? A little bit louder there, guys? It should be a little louder now. The volume looks up. Yep, looks good on the scales. Boom. Steel Zealot. I'm over the cold. We barely get a small bit of snow this evening. Yeah. I hear you. Better? Good. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, guys. I just want a good recording, that's all. I want a nice, solid recording. Everything looking good. So, well, let us do it then. Ready, Mike?
I am ready. Let's go.
All right. Didn't do that again. That's all right. I'm fine. I got it one source. It'll be fine. Here we go. 3, 2. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 286 of Guardian Downcast. I'm your host, Todd the GATR, and I'm a day one Guardian who loves gaming and especially the Destiny franchise. We're the podcast that's all about your stories, your community, and your destiny. This week, we have my co-host, Kingsleymac, with me. RNGGator is off this week. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here once again, ready to rock and roll.
Thank you, sir, for being here with us. We appreciate that. For those of you who may have just discovered our podcast, we are a weekly gaming show with an emphasis on the Destiny game. And we've been producing episodes for over 5 years now. Things have changed over the years. Show formats adapted with the times. And because of that, we have decided to do a live vodcast, not a podcast, a vodcast. And we do that usually on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. But I'm just going to let you guys know that might be changing. We might be going to a Thursday night. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but we might be switching to a Thursday night for obvious scheduling reasons. of all of our guests, all of our hosts, and just makes things easier for everybody. Friday night's a kind of a tough night for everybody. You know, it's when we're socializing and doing a lot of other things. So that might be changing in the future, but we do have a vodcast every week, typically every week. And it is at 10 p.m. Eastern. And we have a replay of tonight's show on my YouTube channel. And of course, the audio version's always available for our podcast listeners out there who've been listening for so long. We thank you for that. Thank you for your time and your ears. And you can also go to our website, guardiandowncast.com, to listen to any of our back episodes as well on demand. Even has a search function. If you're looking for a guest, like Ascendant Nomad back in the day, we had him on our show. If you want to just search Ascendant Nomad on guardiandowncast.com, it'll pop right to the episode you want to listen to of that. So yeah, it's a pretty cool function we have there. By the way, you have any feedback for us, from anything we're talking about today, and it's going to get juicy. Let's hear it. It's discord.gg/guardiandowncast if you'd like an invite to our community, which is awesome. And you can post that feedback in our GDC show feedback channel. For those of you who want to post a question in the live chat, just remember to @ myself or Mr. Kingsleymac here so he can see it or we can see it. And I guess it's our first episode of Act 3 Revenant. So what is on the show tonight? In this episode, we're going to catch up on our past week since we talked last Friday. Next, Mike and I played through the storyline of Act 3 of episode Revenant, and we're going to share our thoughts on it. We'll highlight any pertinent information from the TWAB this week. We may have a few articles I found interesting along the way, and we'll have our topic of the week as well later in the show. Lastly, we have a speak pipe from a listener and that I received last week, but it was our top 5 episode last week. And don't remind me how YouTube shut off our stream. I didn't realize I couldn't stream. I must have been the second Dune Prophecy trailer I put on there. This was the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back. So we got, they took our stream down. I've never had that happen before. So that's pretty cool. Lastly, like I said, we're going to answer questions from our Discord. We have a few there tonight. And remember, you can send us questions for our show in our Discord. If you want to send us an email, it's guardiandowncast@gmail.com. If you want to send us a voicemail where you can send us a voice message for our show and maybe even hear it on a future show, it's speakpipe.com/guardiandowncast, or you can just go to guardiandowncast.com, our website, and just hit record. Record a question or something like that? It's a little tab on the side. You can't miss it. It follows you everywhere when you're on the site. So we want you to talk to us is what I'm trying to say. Well, if everyone's ready, let's roll. All right. Let's catch up, Mike. Let's see what's been going on this week. Give me one sec. Let me draw up the recording here.
Yeah.
Here we go. Well, before we get into Destiny talk, Mike, and we'll try to keep the Destiny talk limited in this part of our segment, let's just catch up, man. See what we've been doing this week. What have you been up to this week, man? What's been going on?
Yeah, I feel like it's still somewhat quiet for me. It is more of the first official full work week for me, but still not much was going on this week. So a lot of times just been spent, I don't know, just administrative stuff, getting stuff done around the house. There's not really too many movies I've watched recently, although I'm still rewatching Dexter with the wife. I've seen that series all the way through before, but watching it again now because they have the prequel series going live right now on Showtime, Paramount. And in fact, they announced a little while ago there's going to be yet another after season called Dexter Resurrection coming June this summer.
Yes, I've seen the previews.
Michael C. Hall is going to be back in it.
That's crazy.
Dexter.
I never got into Dexter. I was back in the U.S. When it on like USA? I think it was on USA with Suits. And, I found out about Suits. I watched every.
No, it was always a Showtime show.
Was it a Showtime? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a lot of Showtime. I mean, I have it now through my YouTube TV, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's on my list. I've got it queued up and ready, and I'm going to go back and watch all the initial season. I know it's going to take a while. As I heard there's 8 seasons or something. It's crazy.
There's 8 for the original.
Yeah.
And then they've already made one after season called New Blood that came out a couple years ago. So that's kind of the 9th season. Now they're making the prequel, so call that the 0 season. and then there's going to be Resurrection in the summer, which would kind of be season 10 in a way.
Really? Wow, that's crazy.
It is.
Well,
yeah,
it looks interesting. I never followed that story, but a lot of people have said good things about it. So
it's gritty. It's not as gritty as some shows, but it's not
Yeah.
going to be like something that you would see on network TV.
yeah,
Think of, it's not like maybe as crazy as like Breaking Bad, but it's kind of similar-ish to that show, but just about a crime scene guy. He works for the Miami Metro Police Department, and
right.
he's a blood spatter analyst,
Ugh.
but he is a serial killer. But he has a code that he lives by where he only kills people that are killers themselves, especially ones that the police cannot catch.
Yeah.
So the whole show is, and that's not a spoiler because they talk about that even
Wait.
at the very beginning. So the whole show is basically people maybe finding out and him telling them it's okay, right? I'm killing people that
Couldn't get
we're going
prosecuted.
to kill more people. So
Yeah.
he's basically a vigilante, and then the whole show is basically if you're for that or not.
Wait a minute, I got a question. You've watched the early series, right? Of Dexter, you
The
said?
prequel one,
Yeah.
I haven't watched that yet. That's
Okay.
going on.
No,
right
I'm
now,
sorry,
and
not the
we'll
prequel
get back
one.
to it.
But the regular season that came out on Showtime.
Yes, yes.
Now, is that still his shtick on that? Is he kills people who kill other people, or does he just kill
The
indiscriminately?
whole time.
Really?
All
That's his credo.
all seasons, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole show is about that and how it can work with, and his sister is like in the police department too as a detective, and they kind of like work together unknowingly, but then
Huh.
he has to hide things from her at times
Right.
if he needs to kill someone versus the police department catching. Again, I don't want to give spoilers. There's some interesting things there, but
Yeah.
it's, I don't know. It's one of those shows that does have a good reputation. It's not for everyone, and especially not everyone can see it. Now, although most people that get Paramount now, I think Showtime is generally included in a normal Paramount Plus plan. So I recommend it if you can get Showtime anyway. I mean, there's other good shows on Showtime too. Not as many as there are on HBO Max, but I still think Paramount Showtime is a pretty good service.
I always tried to figure out why would someone want to watch a serial killer that kills people and he's a hero in the show. I'm like, how? I'm trying to put two and two together. How do people love this show so much? So now I understand. Now I totally get it.
And again, it's not even so much what he's doing, but like any drama show, how he has to stay not getting caught, yet work for the police, yet this and that. And, you know, when you have these shows that aren't afraid to be gritty, like most HBO shows also.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like they're 24/7, they're showing blood and guts and nudity the whole time, but there is a fair amount of that sprinkled in.
Mhm.
And I feel like when they know they can be more gritty, they can also be more interesting in the storyline too, because they don't have to hold back to make it a storyline that's like just for the kids or
Right.
PG-13 rated or whatever. And so they can make some really crazy storylines.
Yeah, Steelzelt was saying that the OG show is on Netflix still. That's where I remember seeing it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find it other
Yeah,
places
okay.
too.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that's interesting.
Okay.
People in the chat have seen it some, and
Yeah.
it's my second watch through. I've seen it before, and
Really?
watching it with the wife. Now she's only gotten through. Now anyone who's in the chat, I'm curious your opinions in season kind of like 4 or 5, when a new female character shows up. A lot of people didn't like her. I'm curious what you guys would say. Now that's where my wife stopped, and I pushed through, and things definitely got good in the show. That was like I think the only lull at the beginning of season 5, the first half. But other than that, I think all 8 seasons of the original are pretty darn good.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Good. That's good to know. Now you finished.
then-
Did you finish? I don't know if you said this last week, but did you finish the Liberators of the Lost Ark game?
The Indiana Jones one?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Now we were
Was-
trying to figure out how many hours it took. I think we looked it up. It was like what, 35 hours? You said to complete the game.
That what I was talking about was actually Astrobot when we were talking.
Oh,
about.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just you
No, that's
know what? Go ahead. I'm
Yes.
trying to remember our conversation we had last night.
No, totally fine, because I actually play several games. I mean, I know you dabble.
I'm
in it
getting
too.
better. I'm getting better. A
Yeah,
lot better,
yeah.
especially these days.
But yeah, I did also finish the Indiana Jones game. But
Okay.
no, just a couple of nights ago, I finally finished Astrobot's main storyline. I know I've talked about it on the show some, and of course I put it in my rankings high up there. Again, I really see why it's game of the year. The ending is quite amazing the way they do it. I don't want to give any spoilers, but with like what happens after you kind of defeat a boss, and then what happens with like credits too. It's kind of fun, and really enjoyed the game. So now I'm a little sad it's done. So I got to find out what I'm getting into next, and I'm going to try this Witchfire, and I'll report back to everyone.
You talked about
I
that.
loaded up a little bit. There's some elements. Let me tell you, the gunplay feels very good in it, and there's some even guns that feel and look reminiscent of some Destiny guns.
Now, is it like space age guns, or is it more like?
No, this is
It's like crusty
dark fantasy.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Think of
medieval stuff.
No, they do have. It's not just like axes and like crossbows and stuff. They do have guns in it, so it's kind of a combination. It's not a sci-fi or space age game. And they're really big on spells and arcanas and stuff like that and lore. But you kind of explore around in these worlds like you would in Destiny. Some in the gun feel. They have like shotguns. They have things that look like hand cannons. They even have an auto rifle. I don't know all the weapons yet. I just barely started, so I'm sure other people, if you've tried this game, you're yelling, through your speakers right now. But so far, I think it seems like it might be pretty cool. Now, it is technically early access still, so normally I'm not into like buying an early access game, but this isn't supposed to be a game that's going to be free to play. So I'm a little more okay with buying this and see what it's like. And I had good recommendations from other people that used to play Destiny more, and they say this is a game that you could potentially get into if you play Destiny.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think some Destiny devs were involved in this game.
Well, I don't know.
I think I'm out of the game.
But that's what you were saying, and it makes sense because they have a gun that almost looks exactly like the Ace of Spades, and then also the fact that I said the gunplay feels very similar to Destiny. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he said. They have some people that came over.
I think I pulled the trailer up and it said it was from developers from Call of Duty, Destiny, and I want to say one other game. It eludes me what it is. I'd play the trailer, but I'm afraid they'll shut my stream down. All these copyright things I got to worry about these days.
We'll figure that out another time.
I know it wouldn't have happened on Discord. I know, guys. I know, but yeah, but yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I saw the previews. I think Astrocross was talking about a Destiny similar to Destiny game. And Remnant 2 is one I've been looking at. I've got it downloaded. I haven't played it yet, but people tell me that's a good game as well. So, yeah. 2 weeks in a row? What's 2 weeks in a row, Allocate? I'm curious. I'm trying to remember the context of that. Anyway, she'll give me an answer in a minute. Okay.
That's mostly what I've been doing. I can't think of anything else too interesting, but if I do in the conversation, I'll bring it up.
Any shows or anything you've been watching? Do you watch any movies?
No movies.
Okay.
A couple I'm looking forward to that are coming up a little later in the month, but a little slower on that right now. I think next couple of weeks, I think things are going to ramp up again. I have a couple things where I'm hanging out with friends later in the month, and it's normal. The first couple of weeks of January are just slow still, and then things really start ramping up. End of February or end of January into February and stuff. So
Allocate was talking about getting my stream shut down. No, we're not getting it. I promise you it will not get shut down. It will not get shut down tonight. We're not going to we're going to show some web pages, but that's about it. We're not going to show trailers and stuff. That's for sure. No. We'll be fine. I don't know if it's, I don't know about you guys, but after the holidays, you kind of get that post-holiday funk where you just can't quite get in the groove again, the work and getting back in your routines and stuff. And then add to that, I took a small vacation right after Christmas. And, so I've got like the double funk this week where I just can't seem to get my bearings. I mean, I was sick a little bit over the, where I talked about my sinus headache, where I was hearing the notes I was hearing were flat. I have a musical ear and I was hearing music. It sounded flat. You talk about freaking you out. I've never ever had that happen. I must have been so congested, but I didn't feel congested, but it must've been some kind of blockage in my sinuses that I just couldn't feel. But man, that scared me a couple weeks ago, but it's been a pretty quiet week for us. to be honest, my wife and I were just wanting to just chill this week, not do too much, not go out too much. I did want to give a shout out to the Crota's Inn pub. Hyoka and others in the Brickcord made me actually the UK members over there sent me a Crota's Inn pub shirt. It's a really nice embroidered t-shirt. And I made a video. I made a little snippet of video in my living room and sent it to them in their Discord. But I just want to give a shout out to those guys because that was really nice to do. Really thank you guys. It was a really nice shirt. And again, I'm really hoping that that if all the stars align, I'll be able to be in the UK this summer. I'm really looking forward to doing that if we can. I'd love to meet a lot of the guys over there. I would like to meet Mr. Monkey. I miss Mr. Monkey. I don't know what's going on in his life, but I really miss that guy. I miss our conversations and stuff. So I'm going to message him if we decide to do that trip. I hope I can meet up with him and get some pics and stuff. But yeah, it's been, I gotta be honest, it's been a kind of a funk this week. And I don't know, these people from Canada keep sending all that cold weather our way. We've been a little chilly this whole week. It's just been, I mean, near freezing at night and not even barely reaching 60 during the days. I know, but I'm from Florida. Everything is very chilly, and don't laugh at me, you northerners out there. It's just been tough, you know. I gave up, treating lawns this week because it's just hellish to try to treat a lawn when it's 40 degrees out. It's just hard to do. And the flexible hoses that you use to treat and, pull around the lawns and stuff, they get it's like holding a steel piece of rebar. It just doesn't want to flex at all. And it makes for a miserable day. And then the winds are up. It was just terrible day. The sprays sometimes come back at you. It's just not good. It's not a good situation. So I decided to do termite jobs this week. And as me and Zombie Pops were just talking about, it is pretty good money. I've had these jobs kind of stacked up and I just haven't had time to get to them. And I figured this week, let's knock them out. Let's get them done. Let's get the invoices out. Let's get the money in the door. And so that's what I've been working on this week. So I'm a little dreary, a little tired. I've been doing a lot of those jobs this week. I won't ramble on about that, but yeah, I mean, my wife and I, we watched a lot of TV this week. We caught up on a lot of shows. My wife did see the final episode of Dune Prophecy, so she now has seen I already watched it ahead of her because she's not a real Dune lover, so I have to kind of explain what's going on a little bit. But she got the gist of it, and she really enjoyed it. Thought it was really good. I actually I started watching Squid Game 2. I love the first Squid Game. I still remember the games. Like, do you guys remember the Battleship game and the Glass Bridge game? That the panels would either break or hold you up. It's just scary stuff, man. And this Squid Game 2 does not disappoint. It has been batshit crazy. It's just been crazy. So I watched first 7 episodes, and I thought I was watching the last episode. I was like, how are they going to end this show on episode 7? Well, now I know why. They pulled an Ozark on us. They're doing a dual season. So they said at the end of the credits that the other season was going to be later in 2025. So I don't know if that's March. I don't know if that's June. I don't know if that's August. Who knows? But man, I like that show. And it's, I don't do the dubbing. I actually listen to the Korean language and then just read the subtitles because it's more genuine. The people who do the overdubbing, no offense to them, but it just doesn't sound the same as the characters you're used to hearing from. So it's really good. Really good job they've done on that again. And I don't know how they topped the first one because that one was so crazy. But I will tell you this, it's not all the same games. They have all new different games. So, and there's a lot of, on this show, there's a lot of setup. There's a lot of real world scenes, and they show a lot of what's behind the curtain, like the soldiers that wear the mask and the pinkish red outfits that actually shoot the players. It shows how they actually get recruited and their little court, their little, it's like a locker. It's like a huge locker that they live in. And it's just strangest thing, but it's really good. Definitely recommend seeing it. But if you don't want to be like hanging on the edge and wondering what's happening, you might want to wait for the second half of the season to come out later this year. I don't know when. I guess I could Google it and find out, but sometime in 2025, the remaining, probably, I'm guessing, the remaining 5 to 7 episodes will be out that finishes up the show. But it has a really good twist in it, plot twist that you'll like. Let's see. I've been watching a comedy mystery series on Netflix. Think of on Hulu they have the Only Murders in the Building show. It's kind of quirky, but a mystery suspense show. Well, Netflix has their version, and it's called No Good Deeds. It's starring Lisa Kudrow from Friends and Ray Romano. I don't think anybody doesn't know Ray Romano. He's probably been living under a rock, but they are trying to sell their upscale house in Southern Cal. It's very valuable, but there are reasons you don't see initially why they're wanting to get rid of the house. And it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. My wife and I actually watched all the episodes, last 2 of tonight. There's one more we have to watch. That's the finale. So I'm curious to see how it all ends, but it is starting to shape up how things all happened in this house. But there's a big cast of characters, and it's really fun to watch. So it's funny. It's mysterious, all kind of at the same time. Think Only Murders in the Building. If you like that stuff on Hulu, you're going to like No Good Deed on Netflix. So I saw the latest stand-up special on Netflix from Nate Bargatze. That was really good. I don't really like his awkward kind of self-deprecating style of comedy. I just never really gelled with him. But this latest one he had out is it's an hour show, and I got to admit, it really had me laughing. It was a really good show. He's come a long way. He's really polished up his act. So the new Nate Bargatze, I'm sure it's in the top 10 on Netflix right now. That's worth if you like stand-up comedy, definitely don't want to miss that one. That one's really good. And I still have yet to see Arcane season 2. That's on my list. There's a movie on Netflix with Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman. It's about a terrorist at an airport who uses an unconventional way to smuggle a package on board a plane on Christmas Eve. I'm so glad I didn't watch this movie before I went traveling to DC this last Christmas week. It looks promising, and I'll let you know how that one is as well. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 88%, so we'll see how it is. But that's it for me this week. I have...
Any movies?
My wife said not to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. We did see Baby Girl last night. We saw Baby Girl last night with...
You're not supposed to talk about it.
With Nicole Kidman. And...
she embarrassed.
Let's just say... How do I say this without being creepy? I was hoping to kind of get lucky because it's a sexual movie, I was kind of hoping, I might get lucky myself when I got home. Don't laugh, Kingsley. You were thinking the same thing. I'm guarantee you were. No,
I was not. No, in the movie.
Really?
I have plenty good. Okay, we won't go there. But...
All right, yeah, please. My wife's already so uncomfortable, but yeah.
No, honestly, I was not thinking that for them. Just because I was watching the movie, maybe because I watched enough of those things. It's not.
I guess so. I'm watching this movie and it's uncomfortable. It's weird. It gets freaky deaky. So
but I warned you. You knew that, right?
Yeah, you said it was too light and they didn't go far enough. I thought they went plenty far. Let's just leave it at that.
Have you seen things like 50 Shades of Grey and
no,
other crazy movies?
I think I did see 50 Shades of Grey. I think I saw it actually on like HBO or something like after the fact, but I saw it by myself. But it's really weird. I was assigning the seat. I was trying, you go to the AMC Stubbs A-List app where you can pre-order your seats. They're all assigned now in the theaters. Mm-hmm. And there was, I usually sit in these 2 seats every time because it makes it real easy to remember. And we know that area very well now, the certain row and seat number. And there was one person that reserved a seat in our seat. And I'm like, we're going on the whole opposite other end of the spectrum. We're going on that row, but we're going to go way on the other side. Well, it turns out the guy or gal didn't even show up. I was so pissed because those are my seats. Anyway, it kind of backfired on me. It got really weird. So yeah, if you're just give you guys a little heads up here. If you want to go see Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman, and don't get me wrong, I thought it was a good movie. It was entertaining. It just got really uncomfortable. And If you're going to hopefully think it's your wife or partner or husband is going to get all freaky deaky with you, yeah, probably won't happen. Okay. That's, we'll leave it at that. So it's just so weird.
That is so funny.
It's so weird a movie. Yeah.
Look, just because it didn't happen with you doesn't mean it went with others. But also the bigger point is like, watch the trailer, people. I think it's pretty obvious if you watch the trailer what type of a movie it's going to be. Plus the rating. Look at the rating. Look at all the warnings and stuff like that. You know,
it's she has some fantasies. Let me just tell you, she has some fantasies, and they're pretty out there. So anyway, moving on. Thanks, Kingsley, for reminding me about that. Then, by the way,
we'll have it. Sorry,
that's all right.
You know, maybe
no.
Maybe we'll make after dark podcast. To talk
yeah,
about
exactly. It's no heretic. Let me just put it that way. It's no heretic. So, and yeah, it's definitely the opposite end of that. But that's it for me, Kingsley. Anything else you want to mention, man?
No, I can't think of anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get into some Destiny talk. We'll do that right after this. My wife was so afraid I was going to say too much.
Well, you didn't have to talk about whatever details you didn't want, but you said you were going to see the movie, so I was curious if you did.
And I even told I was even in the lounge talking to the patrons. I said, "Hey, I'm going to go watch Baby Girl tonight." I am going to see. I'm going to see the 3 hour and 35-minute movie tomorrow called. It's the story of the Jews who came to America. It's like an America story. And how this famous architect, a lot of his stuff was stolen or he wasn't claimed. He wasn't able to claim his own work or something. I don't know. It looks pretty crazy. I think, what is this called? I'm trying to remember what it was called. I could have sworn I put it in my notes, but I guess I must have forgotten. We're seeing that tomorrow. It's a 3 hour and 35-minute movie. And there's actually, I kid you not, there is an intermission built into this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. There's an intermission. I've never had that happen. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to, but this is January 31st.
It's called The Brutalist. Sorry. It's called The Brutalist. It just came to my mind.
Oh, yeah. I saw a trailer for that. I may be interested in that.
He actually, he got, on the Golden Globes, he got awarded actually Best Male Actor in a Drama Series, I think. I'm trying to think of Adrian Brody. Titanic had one? Man, it's been so long since I've seen a movie that long. I'm thinking Lord of the Rings was long, but I don't remember any intermissions. I'm sorry, Kingsley, you were going to say something. I cut you off.
No. I'm just excited about Companion coming out later in the month. That's Sophie Thatcher again. Remember, she was in Heretic, one of the sister missionaries.
Yes, yeah.
She's the one that dies earlier on, but then kind of comes back alive to do the final kill. But
right,
she is like a robot or something, I guess, in this movie, and it's just they say it's like a crazy, dark romantic comedy.
Well, I'm also seeing there's I don't know if anybody in the UK knows Robbie Williams, the rise and fall of this British super pop star. There's a movie. I don't know if it's a musical or not. I'm really worried about this. It's only 2 hours. But this Tuesday night, we're going to see that. It's called Better Man. It got 90% from critics, certified fresh, and 96% from audience. Now, that doesn't mean much because same scores went to Wicked. So
it's a musical and it's animated. You're probably going to hate it.
Probably.
Well, it's not all animated.
My wife.
The monkey characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife wants to see it. So happy wife, happy life. So I'm going to see it too. You know, it's like I said, it's our hobby. So I look outside of other movies that maybe I don't want to see, and she wants to, and you know what's funny is she usually has like a gut feeling that the movie's good, and damn it, every time she gets it right. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, Steel Zealot. Every movie does have an intermission when you stream it at home. Good point. Yeah, it's called the pause button. Yeah. You know what? It's just the funny thing, Steel Zealot. My wife loves movies, but she hates watching movies at home. I think it's because she keeps herself busy with stuff. I think she feels she has to get up and go get something, and it takes her out of the movie. She really likes to be in the movie when she's watching it, but she will not watch movies at home. It drives me nuts because there's so many movies we can watch at home. Anyway, we'll get on to some Destiny talk here. Okay, here we go. All right, so now that we've caught up for the week, Kingsley, let's talk Destiny, man. The Act 3, Episode 2, Revenant Act 3 just released at Reset this Tuesday, and we actually ran through a majority of it. The exotic missions, because you have to run it 3 times to get through the storyline to get to the cutscene. I'll start with you, man. What were your highs and lows of what you played so far this week?
Yeah, it's nice to have some new content again, even though I knew it wasn't going to be tons. But well, it was just interesting loading up Destiny again, and then getting into it. Exotic missions are usually pretty good. I wouldn't say this is my favorite one by any means. I'd rate it a little lower than even last episode's thing, but the high is still having new content, and then even just playing it with you, because I haven't been doing a lot of playing with anyone because I don't really have much of a reason to in Destiny. I'll still be looking for raids here and there maybe, and then but when new content comes out, there's more of an opportunity to play with people. So that was fun grouping up with you, and fun.
It was,
we're not going to spoil anything, but fun watching the cutscenes together and experiencing that, and just kind of talking about what we think. They don't really tell. Some people are like, oh yeah, there's like these big clues of what can happen leading up to Frontiers. Not really. There's just, all it does is add speculation of what could happen. But even that, it's going to be very vague, and it's probably not going to be related to any main storyline anyways. It's probably just going to be some sub storylines. So be sure to read all the text, do the lore, listen to the audio from all the million people you got to talk to in the holo projector, and back and forth like normal. But also a high is I would rate this ending a little bit better than last episode's ending.
Wait a minute, it was an actual ending, right?
Yeah, well, what I mean by ending.
I know what you mean.
I know.
I was
right?
being poking fun.
And the fact of keeping things on that point with the last episode one, it's not like I have anything against open-ended things, but just even that one wasn't done very well, in my opinion.
The episode 1, you mean?
So the Maya Sundaresh,
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
There could have been better ways to keep it open-ended. This was just kind of like really annoying and vague how they did it. And I know there was a little more lore afterwards, but still, just all the cutscenes and all the ending and stuff just wasn't great. This one was a little bit better as far as the actual story, but then as far as content, I would rate it a little bit worse. This exotic mission isn't as good as the last one, and they just make us run it 3 times with very slight variations. It's really hard. I've been seeing the cracks in the seasonal models from even before Final Shape, but especially afterwards. There's just nothing they can do to really keep things going in an interesting way without let's do the mission a 3rd time with a minor difference. But it was fun to just hop in again and kind of see what new armor, weapons I'm not too much caring about. I stole a lot of the thunder. I'm curious what you think, and then the weapon too, the shotgun, if you play with it much.
Yeah. Just a side note. We were talking about that game that was made by Destiny creators. Ruben Stuff mentioned it. It's sorry, the message does not come through. He said it's a game by Destiny, Titanfall, and Call of Duty, I think, and it's called Covenant. Is that game? So just letting you know. Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks, Ruben Stuff. Well, for me, I ran it solo, the exotic mission solo the first time, and I got to admit, compared to the Choir of One, I did that one solo. It took me a long time to get through that one because I spent the longest time just trying to figure out how to get in the damn place. I didn't know I had to go on the ball, the spear, and then drop down from the top. I'm looking all around. I actually am finding cracks and crevices, trying to figure out, man, it can't be this difficult to get into this exotic mission. And then finally, 30 minutes later, I realize I fly around and realize that you can get in from the top. Anyway, I like the castle. I like the castle theme. I like that. We go back to the Tangled Shore, right? So I had a lot of Tangled Shore memories coming through. And, there's past assassins from the Forsaken campaign that I think the Trickster, and what was the one who snipes? I can't remember his name.
I forget that
Sorry,
name.
I put you on the spot.
There's also the big ogre one we get.
Yep.
And
yep. Yeah. So there were a lot of the people who were involved in killing Cade Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that yet. They're kind of brought back, kind of a best of, kind of brought back into little mini bosses in between this fight. You know, you have to go through some of them before you get to Fickrell at the end.
Yeah,
And then
even the one that
Fickrell,
was working with not the Taken, the Hive. What's that one? He's like, he looks like a Hive himself, even though
yeah,
I think he's technically a Scorn. I always think that character's super interesting because he has all the
yeah.
Hive powers.
That Forsaken was such a great expansion. Just the way they laid it out, where you had to go, you had to go through a little mini mission, and then at the end face the boss in like an arena. It was really cool the way the arenas were set up. I remember that. Pyrrha was the Baron, I think. Steel Zealot said. Pyrrha, am I saying that right? Pyrrha. Anyway, you know, at the end, Fickrell doesn't fight you. He sends like some random, I'm going to say it, random ass boss at you. And you're like, who's this guy? I don't know. Just some yellow bar coming at you that some other Baron or some other Baron that we'd never heard of before. I guess an acolyte or something that he sends your way, and then he pieces out. I'm like, oh man, not again. I want to just end this story. This was a loose end, right? I want to end the story and be done with it. Well, that's when you came in, and I did that the first night. And then the second night, that's when I talked to you, and you said, well, I've already run through it, but if you want to run through the exotic missions, let's go ahead and do it. I said, well, that's all it's involved? We just got to run through the exotic mission 2 more times? He goes, yep, that's pretty much it. So, I was a little let down with that because I was hoping there'd be more intermediate story steps, but like you just said, you can see through the cracks of the seasonal models. Because if you could, the way this was laid out, it's laid out exactly how you would come back every week and run the mission again. You know, the third week, come and run the mission again. And the way that you would have to go to holoprojectors right next to the person that's sitting right over there, you know, and have to talk to them, that it shows that what they basically did is they just lifted all the time gates. Maybe they didn't have time to change that, but it was a little awkward the way that was
even worse.
It was bad.
I've seen that. It not only did they lift all the time gates, but there's still even less content.
Yeah.
I didn't even like it before when we had the seasonal model and they have you run like a slight variation of the same mission again a week later. But at least when they did that, they had a little more, not a lot, but a little bit more. They'd have some little mini story mission or a few more things than just going to the holoprojector back and forth.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're right. Not only did they lift the time gate, but there's still even less content than there even was back with the seasons before.
You know, episode 1, they had the time gates, and it felt like the story had more meat to it because every week you would have to go get another specimen, right, from Nessus and bring it back and put it in the tanks and store it in I thought that was fun. I like plants and frogs and stuff like that. I like terrariums and stuff. I do that kind of stuff. So I kind of, I love that kind of thing. But I tell you what, why I didn't. I'm gonna be honest with everybody here. Don't at me. I didn't finish episode 1. I went to YouTube and just I wanted to see the cutscene. I couldn't get myself to run Choir of One 2 more times. I think it was 3 more times to get through the final mission, to get to the final Sundaresh cutscene, because it just was not fun. And I run a lot of stuff solo. I didn't mind running it solo, but I think I had to run it on expert mode to unlock some of the Choir of One, for the catalyst, the catalyst and stuff. But you asked me about the shotgun. I did use it in the missions once I got it the first time. It has a lot of punch. Especially if you use the sight. It has that what's it called? Heart puncture or some type of special perk on it where it breaks into little projectiles if you aim down the sights. And I thought the range was really good on this rifle. I can see this being an issue in Crucible because it's a slug shotgun supposedly, but if you aim the slug, it breaks up into little pieces, right, and does more damage. So
yeah, Fallout did mention something that he sees it being maybe a little bit of an issue in the Crucible if you're a slug shotty player. I mean, most shotgunners are still going to be the other type of shotgun.
Right.
But if you do slug shotgun well, this weapon could be a slight issue.
Mhm.
And PVE, I give it like a B minus. It's a little bit interesting. I think it's one of the better shotguns,
Yeah.
but again, we have so many weapons, and I don't see any reason why I'd be even semi-maining this.
Yeah, exactly right, Steel Zealot. It's the opposite of duality, because with duality, I love duality. I even use it in the Crucible sometimes if I am forced to use a shotgun. But you aim it down the sight, it's a slug. If they're running at you, you can hip fire it, and it's a spread shotgun. So it's very powerful, I think. But this was, it was very much the opposite. You know, the thing I didn't like about the shotgun, and it looks beautiful. Whoever did the artwork on it, it's just dripping with goo. It feels creepy, you know, when you pick it up. And the sound of it's really good. Whoever did the weapon sound, the sound bite, the sound engineering on it did a great job. It sounds really good. It just takes up a lot of the first person shooter space to me. The gun looks very big in your sight picture. I mean, when you're running around with it, it looks a little bit bigger than a regular shotgun. So to me, that was a turnoff for me. I don't like having a lot of my weapon in my view when I'm running, when not using it, when I'm not aiming down the sight. Some weapons are really bad about that in the game, and they've improved it on a lot of weapons, but that was my only take back, or the only thing I didn't like about the shotgun is the fact that it was just it was so big. So much of the body was in the picture when you're holding it. It just was kind of a turnoff for me. So I don't know if I'll be using it in Crucible. I might try it a few times and just see if I can get some laughs using it. But I tell you what I do like, though, and I did get a couple of these, is the new scout rifle. It sounds really good when you use it, but it's just too bad. Scout rifles just really aren't that powerful, especially in the Crucible. I look at everything in the Crucible. I know you look at everything in PvE.
They're pretty good in PvE.
Are they?
Yeah.
They get pretty good punch? Okay. I'll have to try it out and see. I did get a couple rolls, and I have an article before we leave that talks about there's a couple god rolls you guys need to chase. A lot of the feedback in our surveys was like, we need to have like a weapon of the week or something like that. So I got an article here that talks about 2 really good rolls that you need to start farming if you want to go for this scout rifle, because it feels good. The sight's beautiful on it. I really like it. I love the way it sounds, the way it feels when you shoot it. So we'll see how that is.
I do want to mention, we have a comment also from Rube saying, how can you say scout rifles are bad? I'm getting slapped right now on trials.
Well, maybe, what is that? Is that from an Aisha's? Let me see.
Yeah, I'm curious also.
Oh, the heavy. Yeah, they buff the high impact scouts. Those are the ones that are like they're like the Western style guns that you have to reload like like an old Western rifle. Those do hit hard.
And then in PvE, the reason why I like scouts, I don't main them usually, but they definitely have a use, especially when you're doing harder content where you need to stay back, like a GM or something. In fact, shout out, one of the things we did this week, I forgot to mention, was the 12-player GM.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
We got a bunch of people in. It went well. We got it done. And a scout is a good weapon to use in there because scouts have unlimited ammo because they're primary, but they hit about the hardest you'll get for unlimited ammo, unless you move to something else like a sniper or a fusion or rocket sidearm or something like that. So they're not going to hit as hard as those things, of course, but if you just need something to pick away, then, and of course, being anti-barrier, I believe this season, it was also a really good option for, picking away at those squirrely anti-barriers that are further away.
Yeah, and I'm going to just show you here. The red tape is the name of this rifle. It is a lightweight scout. So Steel Zealot, you also mentioned that they changed and probably buffed the lightweight scouts. And the lever action are the high impacts. So this is the one that I got, and so this is a picture of it right here. But it feels really good. Feels really good the way it's set up. And like I said, I've got some god rolls that you guys might want to try to chase down the road. And you can see I got the shotgun right there. I got another one? No, that's the original one. But this is the Slayer's Fang. This is the exotic shotgun that came out. The body of this thing is just so... Sorry, it's a little delayed for you, Kingsley. The body of this thing is just so big in the screen. That's the only thing I don't like about it. I love the sight. Don't get me wrong. It's a slug shotgun. I love the sight this thing has. But it's just a turnoff when a gun takes up so much of your space when you're viewing the game. So I don't know how they can fix that or not, but I think the heavy high impact shotguns you're talking about that are slapping you, Ruben stuff. I think you're talking about, I know Jade Rabbits have always been good. I've used Jade Rabbit in Crucible a lot, and I have a lot of fun using it. But you're I'm talking mainly like your Dead Man's Tale, and the one from I even have the Last right here. This is an aggressive frame is what I mean, guys. Aggressive frame, not high impact. Aggressive frames. These are the ones that got a really good buff. It's like a Tex Mechanica style gun. Even the one they had from Crucible is a Tex Mechanica style, I believe. I'm pretty certain. Right here, the Prophet. Is this the one that's knocking you down, Ruben stuff? The Prophet. Yeah. This is it hits pretty hard, but there's so much recoil. That's the reason I didn't like these guns earlier. Sorry, it's getting into Crucible talk now, but this has so much recoil when I used it last. So maybe they've toned down the recoil a bit. That's what made it a little unruly for me. So I don't know. We'll have to just see about that. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the mission. I thought the mission was fun. It's just, it didn't really seem like an exotic mission to me. It seemed like, someone said this today. It was like a Witch Queen campaign mission. Didn't it feel kind of like that, about the same length?
Yeah. I mean, exotic missions aren't always necessarily super long, but that being said, this one felt a little bit shorter. Also, it just felt a little bit less exotic. I don't know, just if easier is the right word necessarily, but just something about the overall feel. It was good for what it was. Yeah. And if it was like an exotic, or if it was like a mission or whatever, like you said, it would be one of the better for sure missions.
Yeah.
But I guess one aspect, especially when we ran through it with you, again, it didn't feel that oppressive running through it a second and a third time. We were able to do it fairly quick.
I mean, you were ahead of me. I was trying to keep up with you, and we were just destroying stuff as we went. I mean, we're both veterans. We both played this game a lot. So, I mean, I mean, even when I soloed it really didn't feel difficult at all. In fact, I wasn't even built to go in there. I just jumped in with what I probably had my Crucible set up on. I wouldn't be surprised. I always use my prismatic because it works really good on my Warlock. I love freezing stuff and then shooting them in the face. But, Matthew Gilmore was just saying the GM excision is basically impossible for LFG. So if you didn't get it, good luck is what he's saying.
Get it. If you didn't hear, we got it through the Discord.
Yes.
If you're in our Discord, we use the Al Sector bot, the Sesh.
It's awesome
and worked pretty well. But I think I did hear that people were saying, I kind of stepped in last second. I was like the 12th person or whatever. But yeah. I think I remember someone saying like, you can't really LFG for it. And I'm not surprised. I mean, we'll talk more, but like the population's about the lowest ever. So to try to find 12 people, it would be easier finding people to LFG for like maybe just a GM or trials or anything, but this is 12 people. So
a lot of people,
and they have to want to do it. It's not, this isn't a common thing that people are doing. So I'm not surprised.
And it's older content. I mean, it was really hot back in June, but I mean, here we are almost 8 months later now, almost. Yeah. So
and that's why I always recommend do stuff as soon as you can. Yeah. I get it. People say like, oh, I don't want to go through stuff too fast. I'm like, well, if you don't, and they need help with something, it's going to be a lot harder to find people later than earlier.
Yeah. HE Tech was thanking you for hopping in it. Yeah. And Still Zealot was asking if the Wicked Implements included. I believe that is a lightweight frame. Let me share my screen one more time here. Look it up real quick here. Wicked Implement, I've had a lot of fun using this. I got the catalyst for it. It is, well, it's an exotic, so this thing has always slapped. This thing has always been really good. It didn't used to be, and then they buffed it. I believe this was an adaptive rate of fire. Let me see. Let me look again here.
Do they not mention there?
It just says creeping attrition. It's like its own special perk, but it's a 180. So that's adaptive, I believe. I think 180 is adaptive, and then rapid fire is 200. So yeah, I think it's an adaptive I've always slapped with this in Crucible. Ask Warcry. He uses it all the time, and he has so much fun using that gun. Of course, he sits back in lanes. That's what he does. That's his style of play. But I mean, the rate of fire HD, sometimes exotics usually match up. There's a few exceptions. Right. Some hand cannons.
Well, like is like the only 150, I think.
Yep.
Hand cannon. It's different than 140s or 180s.
Yeah, they have a 150. They went 150 on some of the exotics. I believe it's the.
I don't know if I have the numbers right, but you understand the point.
Yeah, it's a solar exotic. I got one here. Yeah, I
like speed because the next speed up that the legendaries have, the higher one is too fast for a hand cannon for me, and then the ones that are just below Sunshot, they're okay.
Yeah.
Like the palindrome, like those models, but I've always liked Sunshot.
Yeah, it is 150. I just verified. So it's like one of the only 150s. It's between the 140s and 180s. It's kind of in its own little place. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's I know. Ask McMaximo. He loves the Sunshot. I think that was his first exotic, and he uses the hell out of that gun.
My first in Destiny too. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. I mean, I love seeing stuff explode.
You can pick it. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So, other aspects of it, the third time around, you finally do kill. Spoiler alert. I mean, finally we get a story that actually comes to a finality, right? We know Fickle's dead. We finally kill Fickle. And then I'm not going to say anything about the cutscenes because it's the first week. And what do you think, Kingsley? You want to spoil any of the cutscene stuff? Or you think it's been out long enough?
I feel like for seasonal content, it's okay because, and especially by the time this comes out, we would probably, Monday. If it was like a DLC, wait like a whole nother week or so. But
that's true.
I'm fine either way. I don't want to ruin if you wanted to keep it going, but I don't think there's anything really wrong with talking about it because I think if anyone cared that much, they probably would have run it by now, and otherwise they're just not in a rush.
True. Well, for our audio listeners out there, I'll give you exactly 5 seconds to pause and fast forward like a good 60 seconds because I want to talk about it a little bit here because I think it's been at least 5 seconds. So the final end, we kill Fickle. And there's a cutscene where Aramis and Misrax. There's the echo is, I guess, imbued in the staff that Fickle held, and glaive staff, whatever you want to call it, and it's up in the air, and they both go for it. And what happens in the end is the what's the light called again? I just said it.
Echo.
The Echo, thank you. The Echo does pick Aramis. And Aramis, of course, says, well, I'll accept it, but there's some exceptions. And what that exception, I think one of them is if you remember, Misrax is sick. He's ill. He's been cursed by the Nezarec. Remember, he was putting the parts together that we were collecting several seasons ago? Well, he's been cursed by Nezarec, and he is just not feeling himself. And anyway, you see the beast erupt inside of Misrax, and through some magic, Disney magic, copyright, Aramis puts down the staff and, thank you, Jesus, frees him from Nezarec. He's been exorcised. So,
well, the same. You think about these echoes have a lot of power.
Yes.
So whatever hands they get in, at first it was in some bad hands, so it's helping a bad person, and then if it gets in some quote good hands, it could have that potential power too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a wish dragon or anything, but apparently it has a lot of power. But yeah, it was able to. So Misrax is back to his normal self, and but what's really we could talk about this. What's really one part of the cutscene is where Aramis is with the Echo, and she's looking at an old place called Old Reese, where I guess this is out of our solar system, where she is viewing it, where I guess the fallen were driven from, or I guess was destroyed.
Their original place. I mean, it shows the traveler over it, like how it used to be a long time ago.
Exactly. So I think a few people were talking about that in articles this week, saying that this may be a callback for Frontiers, she may be calling out to us. There's some really comical lines at the end of this too, where she doesn't want anything to do with us. And she's like, I got the echo, good riddance, don't let the door hit you with the good Lord split you. Right. So that was kind of her attitude too. Like, see ya, take care later. And, it just kind of ended that way. She flies off and disappears and she's going to supposedly try to rebuild Old Reese.
Go out of our solar system to somewhere else.
Yeah. So that may be a callback to future Frontier or future story stuff. Who knows? Or we may be going to Old Reese maybe one time. I don't know. But anything else you want to mention on that cutscene that I'm missing?
The thing on that though is, okay. They keep saying this will end the Light and Dark saga.
Yes.
So how and why would we be involved with these? See, I mean, practically it makes sense to me because I've kind of talked about this where there's no way they can only give us brand new stuff when Frontiers comes out and get rid of the old stuff. Mm-hmm. But logistically, how's it going to make sense? Because if she has the power of the Echo, is that considered light? And they said this is the end of the Light and Darkness saga. So I'm sure there's some way they can make it work where in my mind it'll make more sense. But I'm just kind of like laughing under my breath right now. I'm like, what does this really mean down the road?
Yeah. I'll be honest. Revenant was not my favorite episode. Echoes was a lot of fun because it did spread it out, and I thought there was more to do in Echoes. I mean, I don't know how I can't imagine how things would get put together because it was a different layout in Echoes than it was with the tonic system. I mean, there's always like a table of stuff you're trying to complete, right? It was tonics this season, and I'll be honest, I didn't even get through them all. I don't like stuff that's timed. I don't have to worry about reactivating stuff all the time. I maybe used a few tonics, but I really didn't unlock a ton of great ones. I did do some of the side missions and unlock other tonics and get some more materials and stuff, but they just really weren't exciting to me. I'm just being upfront. They just really didn't excite me. And what's funny is when I saw this trailer, when it first came out, I saw all the tonics and the test tubes and laboratory and Ido being there. I thought, oh, this is interesting. This is something different. I like this. But then, when the episode first came out, the tonics weren't working right. But I have to be honest, the system they used to unlock the tonics, they really fell short. Because the only way you could find out where more tonics were, there wasn't some like a bounty board that says, okay, if you want this tonic, you need to do this 5 times or whatever. No, you just had to start making duplicates of the tonics that you have unlocked. And then all of a sudden, surprise, there's another tonic to unlock. I don't like that. I do not like that part of this Revenant.
It was messy.
So messy. And then we figured out it was bugged, and you got weight gate and all that stuff came out. I was like, I'm out. I'm not touching these tonics. I want to know how the story ends. I want to do all that stuff, but I couldn't get myself to run through and unlock all the tonics. I just didn't care. I didn't care.
I mean, the word on the street is most people don't. I've run into a few people that have been kind of liking tonics, and sure, I've used them a few times because you'll get that extra little oomph for something, but it is boring. It was messy. It was annoying, and all in all, I just don't think. But to answer your question I think this episode had a little less content, but it's not just because it was squished together. It really had a little less anyways than last episode, but not a lot less. I'm trying to remember the last episode when we had to run that exotic mission 3 times, even though they spread it over weeks. Mm-hmm. There really wasn't much each particular week other than just run the exotic missions. So it really wasn't that much more to do. It was just spread out.
If I remember correctly, in Echoes, you had to unlock nodes on this. It was one of the typical Bungie, matrix boards where you had to unlock these things that would unlock these other things. And I tell you the main difference why I enjoyed Echoes better than Revenant. 2 words: weapon crafting. What I was doing in Echoes is I was chasing the red bars because as soon as I unlocked a certain node on the storyline, I can actually get the red bars, and I could get a free one every week. And once I unlock 5 of the whatever the red bars they call them, the patterns or the weapon frames or whatever, then I could go build the gun I want. I like that gun. I just want to build the gun I want. And anyway, so that's the reason maybe why I like, even though I didn't like how it ended, I still liked Echoes better than Revenant. But I'm not going to beat a drum here. I'm sure there's been so much negativity in the community lately. We don't need to pile on, but we're just giving our honest opinions here. And I think a lot of you probably agree it just didn't get the juices flowing for me. I'm really getting excited for Heresy though, because we got another dungeon, in Heresy. We got some stuff coming up. We got the bento box thing they're going to have where you can get tokens and unlock, mementos and other things too. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm sure they'll spell it out for us as we get closer. But I'm really looking forward to playing Iron Banner with the community more than this Act 3 stuff, to be honest. The new Onslaught, I'll play a few more before Heresy, but I kind of did that Into the Light. I did the Onslaught stuff. I'm going to be working on my remaining aspects and fragments for my other 2 characters in the Pale Heart. I haven't got those done yet. And like I said, I'm just not a fan of the tonics this episode. It just really fell flat for me. So it was just too convoluted the way they had that set up. So I don't need to repeat that again, but that's the main reasons why I wasn't really happy with Revenant. Any other words? Any other comments?
No, we're curious, of course, what you all think. It's not even, when you're saying about like, we don't want to be negative, it's not even being negative. It's just being truthful on like how we feel about things. And it really is an issue right now. I mean, I feel like with the low number counts has a lot of factors, but one factor is going to be, at least a part of that percentage is it'll raise or lower how good seasonal content is. And so it's kind of proof just seeing the total player counts staying really low, and that this act is not a home run by any means. Do we want to get into numbers right now or later?
Let's get into it later. It kind of ties in with our topic of the week a little bit, and a couple articles we're going to pull up later. But HD Tech kind of nailed it. He says, I'm a semi-active player and I have issues unlocking them all. I run out of blue materials to fully unlock everything. Here's the thing, HD. I love collecting materials, man. Don't get me wrong. I love doing that kind of stuff. But the problem was there was nothing laid out that told you where to get these materials. You just kind of had to do it in trial and error, and they made you play activities to unlock certain materials that you needed to unlock other tonics. Like I said, it was so convoluted. It wasn't really spelled out for anybody. And I'm a Destiny veteran. I've been playing since 2014, and I was like, huh? What? I don't, it just seemed rushed.
I think the materials tell you where to get, but there's nothing that spells out how to unlock the tonics. You're right.
Right. Yeah.
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 But it's not fun getting the materials either. I'm running into the same issue as HD Tech. If you go back into actually the Tomb of Elders or Onslaught, those are some of the best places to get almost all the materials together.
Good to know.
I need to do that a few times. If I've 100%ed everything except for the current tonics and the little side quests for Act 3, and I don't even know if I want to at this point, but I may. And so my goal, if I do, is to go back into the Elders missions a couple times and a couple other things, and then hopefully I'll have enough blue materials or whatever HD to unlock the rest so I can do the last of the little side quest.
You're gonna get your title?
But I don't even know why I am at this point, because they are also less interesting than collecting the plants. I agree. That was a little more interesting last episode. And then collecting things and then displaying them, even though that can be boring for a lot of people too. To me, at least, it's a little more interesting than just checking things off, saying I have another tonic. That is even more boring than collecting a plant, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
That you can look at least a couple times in the helm and have fun looking at it or something.
Yeah, and the frog would come talk to you.
Give you more abilities, but how many people are like, okay, is there some really good tonic that's only in Act 3 that we care about?
Right.
And also, you never need any of these. We've been doing hard stuff in the game before tonics came out.
Right.
It's not like we need them to run the GMs. Sure, it'll give you a little extra oomph. Why not? But there needs to be a bigger carrot on why we really care, why we really need these things.
Yep.
Other than just a nice to have.
We don't need to pile on. I mean, I think a lot of people have kind of reiterated what we've already been talking about tonight. So let's move on. Yep. Next, we need to talk about the This Week in Destiny. So I'm going to take my mandatory bathroom break, and when we get back, we'll look over This Week in Destiny. Right back. And I'm serious, I do need to take my mandatory bathroom break. So, yeah, hang in there, guys. Yep, me too. Me too. We'll put on a little intermission here. Just a couple minutes, guys. We'll be right back. Okay, they can't hear us. Stupid earbuds. Can't they mark stuff left and right clear? God almighty. Unbelievable. The earbuds I buy high level, really good quality earbuds, and they can't mark them left and right. They're like in small writing. You can't even see them. It's nuts. All right, here we go. Go back. All right. We are back. We unmute Kingsley. There we go. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Let's get into This Week in Destiny. Let me pull it up real quick here. I'm going to be honest. There's not a whole lot to talk about, but I do want to go over some important points here. So here we go. 3, 2. All right. This Week in Destiny for January 9th, 2025. This Week in Destiny, we're celebrating the start of 2025 with the launch of Revenant Act 3. While your beloved TWID may have taken a break these past few weeks, we have not stopped working on what's coming soon. As we ramp up in the new year, we're taking a look at everything you can enjoy in Act 3, as well as launching voting for this year's Festival of the Lost Armor. Man, I got to tell you, this is the best armor I've ever seen from Bungie. I'll show you guys. We'll pop it up on screen here. Let's just do that real quick. So, Revenant Act 3 is live. They have the trailer up here if you want to watch it. If you haven't played it yet, I think we've been there, done that. They talk about how the story ends. We talked about that as well. And the Kel's Fall mission where you get the exotic shotgun, the Slayer's Fang, I believe. Yep. So that's it right there. New legendary weapons you're getting. And like I mentioned, I don't think I've gotten the rocket launcher yet. The new stasis rocket launcher. I haven't gotten that yet, but I have gotten the red tape, the stasis scout rifle, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So there's new artifact perks out now. I I think they work pretty well together. The first column is authorized mods. So all your grenade energy costs for your armor mods affecting grenades are significantly discounted. Column 2 is Frenzied Hunger. Rapid final blows while Devour is active grant a bonus to reload and handling. And then pile onto that, Finders Keepers. Picking up special or heavy ammo grants a chance to receive an armor charge. Heavy ammo has a greater chance. Column 4, Void Renewal. While Devour is active, Void Weapon Final Blows have a chance to generate a Void Breach. And then column 5, which I like this one. After picking up a Void Breach, dealing damage with a Void Weapon creates a rain of seeking projectiles. That sounds like a lot of fun. I haven't tried that yet. I need to unlock that one. There's new tonics you unlock. So if you're looking for those tonics out there, you're going to get the final ones that you've been looking for. Will be dropping on this Act 3. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Some people in the Discord were telling me this before I got home. I was still at work when they said the strange coin cap has been increased, but it's not till Heresy. So keep your pants on. It's not till Heresy. We got another 3 weeks or so until that's going to happen. But they're going to raise the cap from 99 to 199. Okay, it's a start. The Osirian ciphers, you get from the Nightfall and the Nightfall ciphers. Osirian ciphers obviously are for the adept weapon. You can focus if you've gone flawless from Trials of Osiris. The Nightfall ciphers are the ones you get from completing Grandmaster Nightfalls, and they're increasing that from 10 to 30. That's a good step. It's a good step because if you can only hold so many, it's just artificial difficulty for me. It really is. They really don't need to put these caps on this stuff. But they said what's that?
But there is reasons. Why do you think they do?
I know they want us to log in and play every day. It's just I don't think it's the right tact right now. But they did say that the prices for everything was going to stay the same. So they're not pulling that crap where, you can get 199 strange coins, but now that exotic class item you want, it's not 47. Now it's or 73. Now it's 173. They're not going to pull that on you. So you'll actually be able to store up a lot. This is the biggest. I was complaining so much about this, how I would play the Dawning event. You get all these strange coins from doing different activities in the Dawning. And I would max out at 99. And guess what I'd do? I'd log off because why should I? Because they don't send them to your postmaster. So they just quit dropping for you. So why would I want to keep playing if I'm not getting rewarded for playing? So, but here's the part I want to share with you guys. Festival of the Lost Armor voting. This is for the next Halloween event. So it's going to be out there a ways, but this just shows and tells you how long it takes for them to design this stuff. They have 2 different types of armor, and man, I like them all, to be honest. The first one is Slashers. I'm going to enlarge it here. This is your Titan. Looks like Jason. Then the Scream for your, the Scream theme for your Hunter. And then the Scarecrow. Oh, what was this? You know what movie this is? Kingsley, does this ring a bell?
I don't know.
I'm not a big horror movie guy, but yeah, this it actually looks pretty good. But if I was to pick my favorites, and I'm not biased here at all, but I like this one. Look at this. These are called the Spectres. Look at this Titan. That is just spooky as hell. Now, I gotta admit, I'm not a fan of the Hunter here, but it looks okay. I'm not a fan of the white. I think it's what it is, and the floweries. But man, look at this Warlock. Kingsley, look at this Warlock, man. Can you imagine if these little fingerlings moved? If these things actually moved and fidgeted around? I mean, look at that map. What's that?
I like the other ones way better. Sorry,
really?
I'm gonna vote for the other. Mm-hmm.
Jeepers Creepers. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Zombie Pops. I like this set, man. The Titan and Warlock one I love, but I have to admit, I do like the Warlock. Come on, it's the Scream Hunter. That just looks really good. If this ends up winning, Kingsley, I'd be fine with it because I like this. I like these themes as well. I'd be running around with that Jason's mask like all the time. That's so cool.
So
comments,
this is really
questions.
cool and all. But then I want to just know, are we going to be getting the same Halloween event yet once again in 2025? Now, again, it comes back to the Frontiers thing. It makes less sense again unless they have us go through a portal and the seasonal events are not
Yeah.
part of the New Frontier stuff. It's a back in time event.
Yeah.
Because if we're going through Lost Sectors again and doing the same old stuff that we've been doing for so many years, that's still a Light and Darkness story. What's more, just from an interesting point of view, they used to change the seasonal events every few years in the earlier life of Destiny 1, Destiny 2, and they haven't changed them all. And I know they don't have the time these days, but
Yeah.
I just hope, please, if this is supposed to be Frontiers, everything's perfect finally in Destiny, why they better give us new seasonal events too.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm kind of wondering, you know, what is it they're changing, you know? If who knows? You know what? This just may be available in Eververse. Because, you know, usually you either spend 6,000 bright dust for each character.
Oh yeah.
Or
I don't
was it
care how it
1,500,
is.
like $15 in silver?
I just
think.
want to know the actual event. All this is doing is making me think of other stuff, even though this is cool
Yeah.
to look at also.
I get it. So I don't care who wins this one, to be honest. They're both, I think it's the best looking armor sets I've seen in a long time. And I don't know who came up with these, but kudos, because these are great ideas. I really like that Warlock.
Vote for slashers, please.
No. Vote for Spectres. Look at that creepy Warlock, guys. Look at that creepy Warlock. You imagine going in the tower with that thing? That just looks badass. Sorry. Just anyway. Player support report. Anything we need to know about here, Kingsley? Anything we need to point out here? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of I don't know which
There's a
ones
lot.
really.
Yeah.
The main ones I was going to mention, which they did fix, was one with if you go in to the expert version of the mission with a fire team, you were going to get penalized where not everyone get counted for certain stuff. But I heard they already fixed that.
Yeah. There's quite a few things in here.
Now, probably the biggest other one would be Slayer's Fang, since it's the new weapon that people want to use. It doesn't stun overload champs the correct way. I mean, it does stun them, but they get their health back right away. It doesn't stop them from healing.
Yep.
So that's a major major downside.
That's a big downer for me, because overloads are already tough enough, man. I mean, I remember overload auto rifles, I would have to just load them up with lead before they even began to get stunned. It took a lot to trigger it. And once you triggered it, you better jump on them and take care of them. Otherwise you're going to be there all night. Yeah. Okay. We don't have to stick on that. An oil painting of Oryx. I thought that was pretty good. It looks really nice. All my family does oil and watercolors, so that was really impressed with that. There's a movie of the week if you want to check it out, but that's everything for this week. We have more Heresy updates coming in the next few weeks, so we hope you're ready for that. There are massive updates that will focus on PvP and Sandbox. That will probably take you and your favorite content creators some time to chew through. Be ready. Why am I a little scared right now? I have a lot of weapons I love using in PvP, and that worries me. I think they're going to do some major shakeup in the sandbox. And I'm not going to say anything now, but there's a reason why I have some ideas later in the show of our topic of the week. Anyway, there was a couple articles I wanted to mention here, Kingsley, while we're on the topic here. Sony announces that they are making a film in production right now for Helldivers 2. Now, you told me something last night that made me think that this was not good news for Destiny. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, see, I always think when I get pieces of information, my brain thinks so quickly on what other implications this means. And this is cool news for Helldivers, but all this is telling me is that it's less likely now we're getting something for Destiny, a TV show or a movie, because Helldivers 2 is newer than Destiny.
Yeah.
And Sony bought out Destiny Bungie a while ago, and we still haven't heard any news. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not something coming, but with all the other bad news we've heard about, this kind of seems to give more information than, unfortunately, there's no Destiny show anytime soon, if at all. I'm going to counter with Fallout, because how old was Fallout before they came out with a Fallout series that just kicked butt? And the only bad thing is Fallout the studio wasn't prepared with any kind of new game or anything when Fallout came out, which really surprised me that they didn't think that far in advance. Maybe they didn't think it was going to be a popular show, but man, that
that show slapped, man. It was a great show. It made me want to start grabbing my old games again and starting to play Fallout again. And I think they said they had a huge spike in people buying the older versions of the game and actually logging on. Their numbers were really high. I mean, I think I heard 300,000 on one of the games. So I don't know. I still have hope. That they'll do something for Destiny down the road. Maybe it needs to be more of a classic before they, like Fallout was, before they do something. But I'm the eternal optimist when it comes to Destiny. I still think they are missing out. The lore is written for them. The stories are written for them. They just have to handpick them. They're all the property of Sony now. They just have to handpick the stories they want. And they can make probably 5 seasons of episodes with just all the lore. Anyway, so any of you who've watched and listened to the show know that I can ramble on about my Destiny love. Anyway, there was another article I wanted to share, Kingsley, and that was the new Destiny 2 Revenant scout rifle, the red tape. There was a couple, people in the survey said they wanted to get, some information on gun rolls and stuff. And I figured, why not? Let's go ahead and share this as well. There's 2 rolls that they said that you should be looking for. And they did a meta analysis, but the PvE god roll is, can I enlarge this? I can't. Is Arrowhead Break, Flared Magwell, Tactical Mag, Rhyme Stealer, I can see why, Headstone, and with a Stability Masterwork. What do you think about that, Kingsley? You think that's pretty deadly setup there?
I don't do scouts as much that I'm going to have all these perks on an expert level.
Yeah.
But it sounds good enough to me. And
okay.
I actually do think I will try a little bit for this weapon because I think it has a cool name.
Yeah.
It looks cool with the red on it. And I like scout rifles enough. And so just to have another one in my arsenal, I could see going for this.
Okay. Good to know.
So I don't know, to answer your question, if that is a really good god roll. We'll take this article's word for it.
Well, I know.
Let us know.
I know Rhyme Stealer gives you frost armor. It's like an extra bit of resistance when you break crystals. So if you have Headstone and you're creating crystals in front of you and then you're blowing them up with the same weapon, then I could see that would give you frost armor. Maybe I could see.
Then a god roll, in my opinion, has to be good everywhere and not just a stasis type build.
I got you.
So maybe it's a god roll for stasis.
Okay.
But
okay.
Now, please tell me I'm wrong. You can get these perks even if you're not focusing in a stasis build, but
yeah,
I assume. But again, I don't know. I find god rolls more interesting if they're like just good at their base level.
Yeah.
In any type of setup.
You're probably looking for more DPS too, right? More DPS, more of a Swiss Army knife, but maybe even has some decent DPS at the end of it. Maybe
scouts aren't really going to be a DPS weapon, probably anyways.
Okay.
But so what you're looking for is something that hits hard and these things, if you have the Rhyme Stealer to make crystals or whatever, that would be good in general because you can be shooting enemies from far away and controlling the field pretty well. I'm not saying that this sounds bad to me at all, but I don't know. I was trying to be positive and say I'll go for this weapon some, but honestly, I don't know what's so special about
okay, fair enough, man. Hey, you're honest. I like that. Now I could see this Rhyme Stealer Headstone. I could see this being good in like a raid, because if there's one thing in a raid, there's always crap shooting at you all the time while you're trying to do your job. So maybe having that Rhyme Stealer, maybe having that extra frost armor will keep you alive longer. And believe me, in raids, it's all about staying alive. Nothing like having a wipe. So for PvP, they had corkscrew rifling, accurized rounds, lone wolf keep away, explosive payload, and range masterwork. I don't think you need a range masterwork, to be honest, with scout rifles in PvP because the maps aren't big enough. We're not playing on Bastion anymore, guys. We're not riding around in vehicles anymore. All these maps are fairly small. I don't think range is masterwork. I disagree on the range masterwork. I would probably go with maybe a targeting masterwork, or you could plug anything in here. Even a reload masterwork would be better than range to me for PvP. Now I agree. Lone wolf works very good, especially if you're shooting from far away. it gives you a lot of perks to accuracy and DPS and damage, and Keep Away does the same thing. So Lone Wolf and Keep Away actually work well together here. Explosive Payload is more of a flinch maker in Crucible, and they've toned that down quite a bit. I don't know if you guys remember the Gambit hand cannon that would just jerk everybody's when they were aiming, it would just flinch them so badly with Explosive Payload. But they've toned this down quite a bit. So I don't know if Explosive Payload would have to be here. But anyway, Lone Wolf Keep Away, I do like that. So there you go. There's a couple roles you can try to go for when you're getting the red tape, the new Destiny Revenant Act 3 Scout Rifle. Like I said, it feels good. It handles good. It has a really good sound to it. It sounds meaty when you shoot it. So, but like Kingsley has said many times, we have so many weapons. We have so many. Yeah, bottom dollar. Exactly, HD Tech. That's the one. Exactly. I still have one that has Explosive Payload, hoping that they'll bring it back. Maybe with this new PvP sandbox they're talking about for Heresy, we'll find out. Let's see. I think that's all I had as far as some articles and stuff. Do you anything I'm forgetting here, Kingsley? Anything you want to mention?
I don't think so.
Okay.
On articles,
I think the other two articles were kind of dove into our topic of the week.
Yep.
Okay. All right. With that said, we're going to get right to it. Our topic of the week, right after this. All right. It's about to get heated, boys. We got some hot takes tonight when it comes to our topic of the week. Yeah, it's, there's been no doubt that Destiny is probably, it's hard to say, but they're probably at their lowest point right now, because a lot of people have, thought that Final Shape was the end of it. And a lot of people are doing what we're doing. They're playing other games. There's more competition for your time and stuff. So this topic of the week, really made sense this week, since this what seems to be the buzz right now on YouTube and everywhere else. Not saying we're tied into the echo chamber, but we have our own thoughts about this stuff. So, all right, here we go. Well, for our topic of the week, there's been a lot of talk about Bungie in 2025, and especially their Destiny 2 game we play. And the topic is based on a little bit of past discussions we've had on this podcast, and also, but applying it to like 2025. And Kingsley and we've had a talk about this as we're playing the Act 3 story. In fact, last night we were discussing a lot of this stuff, and we're kind of going to share all our takes on this. The topic is how Bungie can fix Destiny 2 and bring players back, but before it's too late. Because the biggest fear I have is the player counts keep plummeting. They keep plummeting. And eventually, out of sight, out of mind, right? If people aren't plugged into Destiny 2, there's no reason to play Destiny 2 anymore. Bungie isn't getting your eyes, at least for an hour a week or something. Then the worst thing that can happen to Bungie in Destiny 2 is it becomes irrelevant. No one talks about it anymore. So that's my biggest fear. And that's why this topic really kind of struck home with me. And I have a lot of takes here. Some of them are our greatest hits that I've talked about in the past, and some of them might be kind of a new, fresh look at stuff. So, you want to start, Kingsley, or do you want me to start and get started with it?
I'll probably start because mine's like quicker in a way.
Mine's drawn out.
I'm not.
But you can bounce off a lot of my ideas.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
mine just doesn't make sense too, because it's not happening, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I've said this a little bit about in the past, and I'll say it again, that first of all, I don't think there's going to be any short to medium term way to get a lot of people back. I predict when Frontiers comes out, we'll get a bump, but it won't be even half as much as we've gotten for Final Shape. And then a month or so later, numbers are going to go low again, unless something crazy happens. But that being said, what I wish could have happened that they started doing a while ago was Final Shape comes out. That's it. Now, I know money people said, we got to sell a year pass, but I don't know, there's still ways you could sell Final Shape for a little bit higher price, have some deluxe edition and things like that give you stuff that's kind of like a season, but not really. But then the point is that they stop production there, because what we've been getting hasn't been great. So I would have preferred them to stop production there, start working on something new, whether that is put everything into Frontiers, but I prefer a Destiny 3. And the reason why is because when we talk about things that can be better, I always see them as little patches on the game. That's never good enough. This game has been here for 10 years. And listen, people, the people that are newer into the game say, like, what are you talking about? There's tons to do. Yeah, I get that. But that's just for you. If you look at the overall numbers, we are still really low. So most players are either longer term players or they're still getting through it just as fast and getting bored. So I think what a new game would do and why they can't just put stuff into Frontiers is it would be all new stuff, nothing past, like no old types of missions or portal systems or things like that, and all new systems. Some of these gun things can only really be fixed in a new game. These are things that I've had in my mind, but I haven't been able to put together in words that are coherent. But Aztecross gave a good example of like how Path of Exile does things and stuff with loot and a lot of other games. And this isn't new. Diablo's been doing it forever, which Path of Exile is a kind of a semi-clone of that game. Where as you're imagine you're doing some story mission or strike or GM or whatever. Right now, we kind of just have this thing where we play activities and we get loot at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really the best system. A better system would be you can even be shooting some acolyte off to the side, or more roguelike things where, oh, we're playing, and this would help too, so people don't run through strikes so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But some extra little bosses come out that are different each time, randomly somewhere in the strike. And you hit that little semi-boss down, and a bunch of cool loot drops. And I would want to have a system where they actually say the name too, so you can see it. It's not just an engram that you pick up or something.
Right.
And all that loot drops. And then you can even have it be where what some games do is you don't get to activate or keep that loot until you complete the activity, right?
Good point.
Otherwise, people might, if they get something really good,
They just don't bail.
They'll dip out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is such a big change, even though it's a simple idea, that I don't see a way that they could build that into the current game because it would break older stuff. Let's say Frontiers, they implement the system in, but then they basically can't have older activities work that same way because it would break things where there are certain activities where they really just depend on getting the loot only at the end, or you would be too powerful if you got something earlier on in the thing, or slow things down if it's like a timed thing or whatever. Like it may sound loosey goosey to you right now, but trust me, like it would be such a big change that it really can't be done unless you have a new game. And that's just one example of changing systems to make the game different. I think it's been played out. These ideas can be added in to Frontiers, kind of, but I just don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I would have preferred that they stopped again at Final Shape and then worked on TV shows or movies for like 3 to 5 years. Think about that. Like they come out with something really cool. They're like Final Shape ending, and then right when we all take down the Witness and the raid is passed, they're like, Sony announces Destiny TV show coming out later this year.
Boy, if they could only think that far in advance, you know?
Yeah.
That would have been brilliant.
And they're like, and by the way, we're putting all hands on deck and on to the next project. So we're going to have a couple seasons of Destiny for 3 to 5 years on TV. And then there's going to be a cool new Destiny game in the future. We're working on it. But the problem is that, and we know this isn't happening, but also DMG confirmed it in a tweet a few days ago. People have been talking about what's going on in Destiny 1. There's these rumors. What's going on with Destiny 3? And he just basically answered both of those questions with a very short tweet. We know this is to be true, but it really just confirmed it again. All we're committed on and working on for any time in the future is Destiny 2. So even me saying this, I know it's not going to happen, but I wish it would have happened. And I feel like we're going to be in a situation where they should have been doing this yesterday. And if Frontiers isn't hot either, people are going to be really in pitchforks saying, how come we're not working on a Destiny 3? And I'm like, I told you they should have been working on 2 years ago. Like, it's going to be too late if Frontiers isn't good. And then we're just behind another year. Okay. Now let me be, if that's not a negative or anything, that's just what I want to happen, what I wish would have happened.
Right.
what they can do for Destiny 2 in the meantime is just continue work on Frontiers where they have, but Frontiers is done, but I don't know how good it's going to be, but find more and more ways to have newer systems for working with rewards and newer systems for working with changeable things. You know, we know the solo op will be somewhat changeable, so that's good news.
Mhm.
But let's have changeable things in strikes, changeable things in probably not raids, but I was just saying that changeable things in missions, changeable things out in the world. So I have no reason to patrol just for bounties, but if I was hearing that in the world on patrol, there's like these random enemies again that pop up, they can just start with that.
Mhm.
That could drop some really cool loot. Hey, I'm going to be on patrol way more often now to hit up these enemies and have it be part of some cool RNG drop that is only related to these random enemies that are on patrol, and you get different perks with other random drops on it. It's going to keep coming back and playing that over and over. So that's kind of an idea I have of maybe what they can do in the meantime. Hopefully that's kind of answering your question.
No, it was good.
I know
It was well,
you have a
well
lot
done.
of different answers, things you said before, but mine,
Yeah.
I just really had to kind of step back and say, I wish we could have been working on a Destiny 3 at this point. I realize we aren't, and I'm kind of sad about it because I still think a whole new game is the direction we should have been in, and it's already too late.
So Kingsley took the nuclear option.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was going to ask you that question too. I was going to say, do you really think that Bungie should have just zip black screen right after final shape and just pieced out? And man, if they could have tied in a even just a live action series or something. I remember Planet. Do you guys remember Planet Side? What's that?
A year later.
Say it again.
Sorry. Or even say something's coming soon, the show like 6 months or a year later or something like that.
We have something to look forward to, right? Because it's going to take time to make a Destiny 3, at least 3 or 4 years. That's being very aggressive.
I'd say 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
Because their team isn't what it used to be. And I have lots of thoughts, but I want to comment on some of your stuff.
Of course.
Now I know they did say with Frontiers, they did make new systems where they were going to have more ads based on player movements and a lot of little subtle things that we don't have now. Like
so
you
that's
mentioned,
just in solo ops so far.
Oh, okay.
Just there.
Okay.
And it sounds good, but that's like a 5% fix of the things I'm asking for.
I agree. I just want to mention that because they did. I remember hearing those developer updates that they did mention that they changed a few systems in that. As far as now, if they could drop random loot. I mean, if I play a lot of patrols because I'm usually farming Glimmer. I'm probably doing a lot of different things. I'm stacking bounties. I'm getting my enhancement cores from doing my weapon bounties every day, which I sadly haven't done lately. All at the same time, there's always a high value target that roams around about every 15 to 20 minutes. Easy to kill, always drops a chest. But sometimes I'll open that chest and I'll get like Glimmer and a little XP. And I'm like, wow, that was fun. Thanks, Bungie. What if you opened it up one time and boom, a freaking even a exotic Ingram comes pouring out of it, and you got to rush to the town to see, rush to the you could even make it mysterious where you have to bring it to the Cryptarch and say, look, Cryptarch, what I got here? What do I get with this? You get a blue. No, just kidding. Not Destiny 1. But you know what I'm saying? Have something exciting, have it. What if, I might have a chance, even if it's 1 in 80 chance of getting an exotic or something that I don't have on a knockout list that I don't have. I love I
agree on that too.
Yeah.
That's what was going on on Nessus, that public event where you could have a knockoff list on the exotics. And that was a brilliant system. And you're right. Even if they brought it into patrol, some kind of like, I would have to say it'd be a much less chance if we're just talking patrols. But and Steel Zealot kind of says similar things, but like in the chat, but give us reason to do patrols in different locations. But like what you're saying too, Gator, like have something. If it is going to be an exotic, maybe a really small chance it drops, but if it does drop,
that's why we play the game.
Knockoff list.
people love RNG. There you go. There's your RNG. That was a good point. I want to point that out because that is something good. That, like you said, that Astrocross talked about in Path of Exile 3 is you can hit a grub over here, just a little minor enemy, and it can drop something really great that you've been looking for. That just knowing that could possibly happen. I know when I run my route on patrols, usually Cosmodrome, I know exactly what I'm going to get. There's no surprise. There's no, oh, look what I got here. And say I get a legendary gauntlet or a legendary weapon, it's usually something lame. It's like the world loot. The world loot just is, it's okay. Probably for newer players, it's probably exciting, but they don't really have anything for us longtime players to surprise us, But, Steel Zealot says Neomuna has terminal overload, but it's dead unless you have another reason to go there. Like, give us something to do. I totally agree. So that ties in with Kingsley's point there. Good points, man. I had one of my points was to make a Destiny 3. I called it the nuclear option because it's pretty much Bungie has to press the big red button and restart because this is a 10-year-old game. I mean, it's a 10-year-old going on 11-year-old game. And I don't know about you, but
getting old.
This is the longest video game I've ever played. And I've played a lot of Call of Duty in my time. And I've played more Destiny than I have Call of Duty. And that's saying a lot because I was really hooked on Call of Duty for a long time. I have a little different take. Maybe probably a little more shilly and probably more proactive than probably what you're talking about. But ever since they mentioned that they're shifting their DLC to the 2 medium-sized expansions with Frontiers, with Apollo and Behemoth, RNG, I think there's things they can do this summer and even rolling up into before the Frontiers to kind of just improve morale of the player base and the community. That's what we need, man. We need some morale. We need a reason to jump in and play the game. First, Bungie needs to look to new players of the game. Yes, it is a free-to-play game, but it doesn't take long to realize that in order to get all the good stuff in the game, they got to buy expansions and maybe even dungeon keys if they want to run dungeons with the community. If you're not, if you're a veteran player like I am, it's really tough to explain what to start out with and what direction to take. We had a new player jump in our Discord community just last week, and they seemed really eager to dive into the game. They were asking all kinds of questions. The community was awesome. They jumped in and tried to tell him or her what to do first. And I was not surprised, like I said, our awesome community wanted to chime in and help them and give them tips and stuff, but it can just be so overwhelming to a new player getting all that advice. They probably don't even know what half the terms mean, or the characters or the names of the guns or whatever. So I just reiterated to him to just take your time, explore all the worlds, and just enjoy the game. And I don't feel I probably didn't really help him out, but I think I'm going to recycle some ideas that I talked about years ago. I think they should make all expansions except for Final Shape free for all new players. Get rid of the stupid dungeon keys. They may have been profitable back when dungeons first came out, but that content's old now, guys. And Bungie really needs to think about growing their player base. This is what World of Warcraft has done. Why doesn't Destiny 2 do this? The latest and greatest stuff, yes, you have to pay for it. Yes, you have to get a dungeon key, but have it fall off after a year. Have it free to everybody. I have alt accounts where I'll go to and want to run a dungeon with the community, and I can't because I never bought the full expansion because it's all account tied now. And I couldn't jump into the dungeon because I didn't have the dungeon key. And I'll be damned if I was going to spend a dungeon key of $15 on a dungeon key just to be able to play with my friends. I'll just go back to my other account that has all the stuff unlocked. But I've mentioned this before in past shows years ago, and I think it's time to mention it again. I think Destiny 2 needs to go to subscription model. Instead of monetizing every little damn thing in Eververse, event cards, catch-up weapon packs, it just makes sense for Bungie to create a monthly cash flow for their studio instead of nickel and diming the very player base they're trying to hold on to. Keep Eververse in the game to offer cool cosmetics, make it all earnable in-game with Bright Dust, or make it exchangeable to buy more Bright Dust with currency that we've earned playing the game. In other words, 10 enhancement prisms will buy you 1,000 Bright Dust. which would mean farming other materials to earn those enhancement prisms, right? It makes us play the game, makes us play more Nightfalls and stuff that gives us those prisms. This creates a reason to play and grind the game. And award Bright Dust for subscribers liberally by playing anything in the game. Put it in the season pass bars more frequently. Open up the game like Warframe does. Everything in Warframe is earnable if players want to put in the time. And Aster Cross has been putting a lot of Warframe videos out lately. He's been jumping into it, and he goes, I can't believe this is free to play. But we're not talking about free to play. We're talking about a subscription model. Believe me, my whole business.
WoW.
Yes. WoW's been doing it forever, and they've been out longer than Bungie has. I mean, with Destiny, I mean. So believe me, I know about bringing recurring income in. I run a route-based business. I run a repeat business, and I can usually forecast my income models because I know my clients. I know when they're due, and God forbid a hurricane hits or something that puts it off. I can forecast what my income is going to be based on my, let's just say, players, my player base. So even if Bungie only had 11,000 players concurrent playing on Steam right now, that's 11,000 people that are paying a monthly fee to play the game. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. World of Warcraft, they did this because they didn't want to nickel and dime everyone who tried to jump in. They wanted to make it as friendly as possible for people to jump into their worlds and discover everything that the people that have been there forever have discovered already. But have subscribers unlock everything. Season pass, all activities, and just charge for Final Shape, because that's the latest expansion. Now, once there's another expansion out, then I think Final Shape should fall right back into the subscription model, because they made their money. The pre-orders, they made their money, and they're discounting the hell out of everything already right now. Why are they worried about a measly $12.99 when they can get reoccurring monthly income from people who really want to play the game but don't want to feel like they're nickel and dimed while they're playing it? It just makes perfect sense to me. I mentioned this 2 or 3 years ago when Hazel was on the show, and he was very skeptical about it, but I think it's time. I think it's time to bring it. I think it's time to do it.
You want me to talk about that point now or later?
Oh, I want to hear you. I want to hear your input.
I've talked about it too, I feel like, and maybe it was on Guardian Hub, but I agree actually, because the thing about the subscription model will solve a couple other problems too.
Yeah.
They will have to make more content with a subscription model, and they'll be able to grow their studio with more employees too. There won't be the excuse of money anymore, because subscription models will make them a fair amount of money for sure.
They can put budgets together. They can do forecast budgets because they know they have guaranteed income coming in. Let's just base it on a minimum amount of players that they know will stay with the game, right?
Yeah.
So, well.
Yeah, and of course it has to be a good price. Like Steel Zealot says, well, if the prices go up, I mean, yeah, of course. Well, prices go up even with the DLC sometimes year after year.
Sure.
You can't have it too high. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I don't know what would be a good amount. Maybe like these days, I would say kind of like a between a 10 to 15 a month would probably be max.
I was thinking $12 a month. Yeah. I think that's what World of Warcraft is, about 12 to 15, I think, a month to jump in. I haven't looked in a while. But
yeah, and I know people aren't going to like it, but I do, just on your point, Gator, I do agree that that would solve some problems.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, so I'm glad you brought it up.
I've been beating this drum for a while.
How would they start it though? I mean, maybe they could start with Frontiers.
They'd have to
start it in a
fresh
way
start.
where, yeah, but they'd have to start in a way where they already have a lot of stuff going, or else it won't be worth people paying the subscription.
What if they gave an option? What if they said, listen, for the people who've been playing this game, who want to just jump in and play the new stuff, then I don't know, $100 for the year, like they've always done, right? Yeah. Or I mean, it's kind of the model that everybody uses now, including Game Pass. Pay the $15 a month or the $10 a month, and you can play all these games. It's all open to you, but expansions and other stuff that's brand new, you'll have to pay for that out of your pocket. I think Bungie just needs to open it all up. I mean, open it all up. Just they're already scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to get anybody to pay $5 for Shadowkeep right now. Come on, man, just unlock it all under a subscription. You have the subscription model. You've already earned your income on whatever. You've already earned the majority of your income from all the past expansions you've released. Why Bungie hangs on to these like they're going to bring them some great money in? just open a subscription model, open up the floodgates and let people dive in and play anything they want. Because what's the one thing the new player says? What's the first thing I should buy? Because I'm looking at Steam here and it's $300 worth of stuff here. I don't even know what to even start with, guys.
So the hardest thing, and again, Steele talks about this some more, and what I'm thinking too is the hardest thing will be how to start it, because once it's going, then they'll have the money to have more employees and build more content.
Yep.
But right now, I don't think anyone would think it's worth paying a subscription model for what we have. And if they were to bring back all the old stuff, they do need at least a little more staff to kind of develop that. So it's going to be really hard to start it, I feel like, unless there is some magical other secret studio that's kind of working on this, that's helping them out. But if they can start it and there's enough content that will make people think it's worth it to pay for that subscription model, then I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, the chat's exploding here. They got all kinds of things. They're saying here, Steel Zealot was, did they even improve the new player experience? I'll get to that point next. HD Tech, honestly, my drive to play a game is community. If it wasn't for GDC, I probably wouldn't still not be playing the game right now for the community. And that is my reason I still do weekly events. And Zombie Pop says, they really aren't even making any money off that stuff anymore. Exactly my point. Steel Zealot, same tech. I'm a huge story mode type player, hence Assassin's Creed and Halo. I love Final Shape because it was linear. Now I have to play with y'all. What's that supposed to mean, Steel Zealot? Never mind. I won't take that the wrong way. But he says with their subscription model, when does capitalism grab hold and rates go up? Would this start current day or with the new launch? Here's the thing. Can you imagine? Let's just do a little what if, okay? Let's put our tinfoil hats on. Frontier launches, and instead of $99.99 to buy the expansion, it says join now for $12.99 a month. You can play all of the new content and all of the old content. You can play anything you want. No more dungeon keys.
Lots of bright dust. You're getting all these extra collectibles.
Yep. You can go to Eververse, and when you go to Eververse, you're like, oh, look at that ship. I've been wanting them to make a ship like that. And then you look, and it's 1,000 silver. Come on, man. Tell me what I got to do to earn that ship. If you tell me that it's 1,000 silver, which is $10. Why not just say, listen, it's 10,000 bright dust. But here's the thing. 10,000 bright dust doesn't mean much when you're dismantling all of those stupid ghosts you get with every bright engram past level 100, right? You get the same stupid ghost ship projection. Does anybody use projections? All this stuff that you don't want, you used to be able to dismantle it and they would give you some little bit of glimmer, but they would give you bright dust in return for stuff that you don't want. You don't want to store it. You don't care about it. If you want to pull it out of collections, then it will cost you bright dust to pull it back out, or glimmer, or whatever way they decide they want to do. But here's the thing. You have to make an exchange like Spider had. So if you really want to motivate people to play this game more, and they're earning all these other currencies in the game, which they have to use to upgrade their weapons and upgrade their armor and stuff, have it where you can actually straight up trade that stuff out for bright dust to go run to Eververse and get that ship that you've been looking at and you're worried it's going to go away. Get rid of all the silver prices. Just make it all bright dust.
I'm even thinking with the subscription model, you would obviously get some base bright dust per month also for doing nothing. That would also make the subscription model worth it, because you're right. And then have it just be bright dust. Well, I don't know. I feel like they'd be stupid if they don't have some things you can still buy quicker.
I was just going to say that.
Want for the whales,
I was just going to say that you can have like a featured armor set that the artist really took time to make, like the Halloween event, right? The festival loss we're voting on. Have that be $15 because the event's free. That's the way they can pay for the event. Get rid of these event cards, these $10 event cards. I mean, you're actually getting a lot for $10 if you really break it down. You're getting emotes, ghosts, usually a new sparrow or a ship, all included for like $10. It's a really good deal, but people don't see it that way. They see it as they got to put $10 out to play this stupid event that they're already halfway thinking about already. Make the event free. And then if you want this cool looking armor, then it's 15 or 1,500 silver per character. That's where they can get the whales, and they can have featured stuff that they release every month that stays there all month. and that the whales can go and buy all they want. But if you don't have a player base to play your game, Bungie, how do you expect them to shill out $15 for a game they might not even be playing in a year? The reason I've ever spent silver at Eververse is because I know I can show that ship off to friends of mine when I go play a raid or something with them. So that's what drives me to buy this stuff, these cosmetic items, you know, no pay to win, nothing like that. But open up the game, Bungie, open up the game, get rid of all the silver costs, get rid of all the dungeon keys, get rid of everything except the latest DLC. If they want to play that, they have to pay for it. And you can even give that a discounted rate. But the thing is Bungie tries to do both things. They're trying to offer a free-to-play game to get you invested in the game. But then once you get invested in the game and you're ready to move on to other places, then they hit you with all these expansion costs. And if you want the catch-up pack, if you want all these crucial exotics, it's $15. I saw that on PlayStation today. I was like, you kidding me? Anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but this is something I've said in previous shows. And I think more than ever, Bungie's back's up against the wall here. I think they need to start thinking about things a little differently here. Another option, like I said, was the big red button. Make a Destiny 3, go black, go dark for 3 to 5 years. And, you know, it is what it is, you know. But what about the vault problem? I've mentioned this before as well. And I don't know, I'm not a programmer. I don't know how extensive this would be. Make everything craftable. For all those RNG fans out there saying that weapon crafting has ruined Destiny 2, you're also playing, hoping for those RNG drops of weapon frames, right? Isn't that RNG as well? What's the difference? I play the season to unlock a perk that gives me a free weapon frame every week, but it takes 5 weeks to get that one frame if I did nothing. So it motivates me to play the set activity of the weapon I want to craft until more weapon frames dropped, whether through the activity or my free one every week from the vendor of that season or whatever. And that's just one weapon. There are hundreds of weapons in this game, hundreds of weapons in my vault that I would love to get rid of all the duplicates of the weapon. If you were to let everything be crafted weapon wise, it would free up all the problem with these stuffed vaults with all these different rolls of different weapons. I've said this in the past, as soon as I craft a weapon, the first thing I do is get rid of every one of those copies and it's usually 6 to 8 vault spaces right there just from one crafted weapon. So make everything craftable. And if you guys out there who want the RNG and the enhanceable weapons, the ones you can put enhanceable perks on, what happens when you've been playing 50 lost sectors and you never got that roll or even the exotic that you want to drop? Remember those days? That's RNG, baby. So what I think Bungie needs to do in Destiny 2, because there's so much competing for our time these days. It's not 2014 anymore when Destiny was the hot shit. There's a lot of games that have caught up and are just as good as Destiny 2 now. You have to respect the player's time. You have to give people a path that if they want to grind for a weapon, they don't have to keep pulling the slot machine, which is pretty much what RNG is. You're pulling the slot machine. You're hoping for that dopamine hit. You're hoping for that dopamine hit. And when you never get it, you get discouraged and you quit playing the game. But if they said, hey, you want that weapon? Here's the path you got to take. You got to do these steps. You got to get this many frames, and then you can go craft it and make the weapon whatever you want it to be. And not even another thing I wanted to mention here was Bungie just mentioned it tonight. In Heresy, they're going to severely change the PvP sandbox. So what happens if that great hot shit roll that you got RNG wise all of a sudden got nerfed to the ground next season or the next episode? What are you going to do now? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the crafting table and I'm going to craft the other perks that I know will work better than the ones they nerfed. It gives you so much flexibility when you craft a weapon. I mean, what is the ultimate thing that all players want to do in Destiny or any game? They want to jump in and kick ass and have fun, whether it's PvP or PvE. So Bungie, let us do that. Let everything be craftable in the game. All the weapons be craftable. They're already having a new, they're already revamping the armor sets, right? With all kinds of new perks and chances for stuff to drop on better versions of they were talking about the certain tiers of armor and stuff. I think that's a good move for the future of armor. But once everyone right now has the armors that works for them, they're just swapping out the ornaments. There's no reason to go get more armor. There isn't really. But if I know that I need 5 weapon frames to unlock all the options for a given weapon, and let's not forget all the cost and in-game currency or time if you want to get kills to raise the level with the weapon levels to upgrade the crafted weapon to unlock all the possible roles. That's what I want to use in PvP and PvE. That's how that grind is very different than the usual RNG grind. It fixes 80% of the vault problem. And like I said, if the sandbox changes drastically, you can go back to the drawing board and switch out your perks on your weapon just like that. And there's a cost to it. It's not free, but there's a cost to doing it. That was my second point. I have one more point, but do you have any comments on the weapon crafting? I'm sure you do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the weapon crafting thing has anything to do with population. I think it's more just opinion, and people like to play different ways.
Really?
If you've looked, they've had it both ways in the last 6 months, and it keeps going down no matter what, the population. So I just don't think weapon crafting or RNG has anything to do with population, unfortunately.
One of the reasons why I've played a lot less Revenant than I did Echoes. Echoes had those craftable weapons, and they had those frames that I could get every week. I would always bring me back to come back and get that free frame and then go play some of the activities in that seasonal activity to hope that I get another red bar to drop somewhere along the line. And if they were to craft everything that we have in our catalog of weapons right now, that pretty much everybody has stuffed in their vault, it would take me 6 to 8 months just to craft them all. And even the grinders out there that play hours and hours a week would still take a lot of time to unlock all those weapons and to do that. So
that's just you. And if you look at the graphs,
that's very true.
Like,
that's
me.
me.
It's not like episode was constant at this level when it had weapon crafting, and then now Revenant is at this level constant. No, it's been going down the whole time.
Yeah.
So if your logic about people coming back for weapon crafting doesn't make sense, because it was still going down week after week after week, even in that episode.
My point on that is I had a path. I had weapons that I liked in the season, and I had a path to unlock them and make them my own. And that's what I've always loved. And I was the one who cried about to have weapon crafting before they offered it. I was the one that cried every week that they need to make a weapon that you can create that is your weapon. That's your set of perks and gun magazine perks and whatever fits to your style of play. Anyway. So that's the reason why. And I know there's people out there say, new content should never be craftable. Why? We have to wait for RNG anyway to get the weapon frames. What is that? How is that any different than getting that god roll to fall as well? How's it any different?
Yeah. So the weapon frames actually haven't been RNG since you keep bringing up that point. Remember, they would let you get a guaranteed one every week when you come back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But they spread it out over 5 weeks. If you did nothing, it's going to take 5 weeks per weapon. No, that isn't RNG. No, that's a path.
Even RNG people don't like that. That's not RNG.
But here's the thing. To unlock that perk that allows me the free weapon, the free weapon frame every week, I had to play the game to unlock it, and it was usually far down the bar. I would finally get that red bar. That's what I'm saying. It encourages me to play to get to that point. That's kind of a reward.
People are dropping off.
Well, maybe so, but
that's why I still think it's just your opinion, and I'm not saying it's a bad opinion. I just wonder if it really has anything to do with population.
It's just the kind of player I am. I guess maybe it's my Call of Duty roots where I'm used to grinding every weapon in zombies to get all the attachments unlocked on it. So it's finally mine. I have my camo on it and everything. People have played this game for 20 years and they still use the same method to unlock their weapons. And if it hasn't worked, they would have ditched it a long time ago, but they still use the same method in Call of Duty and it still works today. Just saying.
In other games, RNG still works today, and Destiny started as an RNG game.
Yeah.
I actually prefer it that way.
You can still have both. Why not have both? Why can't you have it where you can actually get a god roll to drop too when you play those activities? You can always have that as well, but the crafting is the fallback. It's the way that if you played the hell out of this activity, this seasonal activity, and you just haven't gotten the drop you want, but you're slowly along collecting your frames, that's your insurance. And then you're moving on to the next gun.
Brand new ones. They have to be out for a little bit to be the fallback. Even Bungie said that when they're going to do crafting going forward, it won't be the latest season stuff. It'll be like the previous stuff.
You know what? I'm even fine with that as long as they start unlocking more regular guns that can be craftable. And they started doing that for a while, and then they just fell off. Everyone was complaining how they don't want crafted, and crafting is ruining the game. It's not ruining the game. It's creating gameplay. You're creating. I know you're different. You're more of a discoverability guy. I'm more of a tell me what I got to do, tell me where I got to go get it, and I'll get my weapon, and then I'm going to go jump in PvP and Crucible and use it. That's just my mindset. And I realize I'm not every player out there, and there's probably 8 different varieties of players out there, but for me, all I can tell you is what would get me to play the game more. And that's what. Now,
do you think it's the majority of people? Because again, the population numbers are going down no matter what.
Well, now I will mention that they don't have craftable weapons this season versus last season. So I don't know if that's contributing to it or not. I don't know.
Oh, but you can't use that argument because I already said, even in last episode, if there was the argument that people didn't like how it was this season, then you would have seen the full high number last season and then it dropped this season. But it was already going down last episode.
That's because everyone. That's because everyone thought Final Shape was it, and Bungie didn't take advantage of that moment with like you said. Having
weapons had to do with it.
Yeah, with having a TV show or something coming out to keep people interested, that they missed their opportunity there. But anyway, that's what would get me playing the game more, knowing that I can unlock more craftable weapons in the game, because I love
play the game a lot.
I love having a vault full of those little craftable little emblems at the top where I know I can do whatever I want with that weapon. So, and as they add more perks, it unlocks them in the weapon crafting department too.
Yeah.
So, we're going to agree to disagree on that part, but here's the last.
You still play the game a lot anyway. So
I do.
don't know that
I do.
Really
well, I mean, I'm a Destiny shill. Everybody knows, but here's the thing they got to do though. My third prong of them getting people to come back and play Destiny. They got to bring Red Boar back. They got to make a proper beginning story to Destiny 2 for new players. For most new players, they've told me that in the past that jumping into Destiny 2 feels like they opened up a 600-page book, turned to page 364, and jumped in. There's no context. There's no explanation for anyone to get started. And that opening catch-up video is horrendous. Sorry. I played the New Light campaign myself, and it was brutal. Even someone who knew everything going in, that video was still pretty hard to watch. And it was just like they put fast forward on everything. And people are like, oh, wait a minute. Well, but yeah, he died, but who is he? What is he? There's no explanation to the video. It's just like, hey, here's what happens. Here's what happens. Here's what happens. Here's what happens. All right. Now you're in the future. Now you're in current time. Go have fun. And people are like, what? So there's a ton of new player videos out there trying to play this game. And I know I'm beating a dead horse on that because I've heard that so many times from all kinds of creators out there. But I'll tell you what, man, I plan to use this time before the Frontiers launches in June. I got a 10-year backlog of games that I've never played because the pool of Destiny was so strong. I will, of course, play all the new content that they release, but until then, these episodes are just really not doing it for me. And I'm really hoping that the third episode really slaps. I really do. I really want it to. And what they've been talking about, I remember even when I saw the armor that they're releasing in that, it looks like pilot armor for the Dreadnought. It looked really cool. It looked really good. Got me excited. And typically Destiny, when they're rolling into new content, usually that last season, or I don't even know what to call it anymore, episode, usually is pretty hot. They usually save all the good stuff for that last episode or that last season going into the new content. So that's my hope. That's my hope. It really is.
I predicted Heresy will be
think so?
the best of the three also, but I'm just not sure it's going to be that much better, but it'll be better.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. I still have a lot of stuff I got to do in the Pale Heart. I took a break in July to jump into the episodes and just try to avoid being burned out because there was so much to do in the Pale Heart when I first played the game. It's been my plan all of last year, but now I have some catch up to do in the Pale Heart. I got to work on my other two characters. I got to get more dungeon and raid runs in, and I got to keep playing Crucible with my friends. That's going to be the extent of my activities in Destiny 2, aside from Heresy going forward, or the bento box event that they're going to have. I'll jump in and at least see what that's about. But that to me,
get some raids, some Wednesday night raids.
I think I'm ready to get jumping back in. I'm ready to jump back in and start playing some raids again. I'm really rusty, man. It's been a while since I've played even just the latest Salvation's Edge raid with Technical and his crew. So, we'll have to see what Bungie does going forward, but hopefully by the time they make changes, it won't be too late to retain the people who love this game, who love to, and to capture more new players who's never experienced the joy of a raid or wandering these beautiful worlds that got me tied in back in 2013. It's what took me for 10 years ago. And it's that Destiny magic I think can happen for new players too. But, good conversation, man. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good conversation tonight. Thanks for the chat, for chiming in too. I mean, that's why I love doing topics of the week, because there's always something good that comes out of this. It just gets, you could see I get all emotional. I get all riled up when we start talking about things that Bungie needs to do to change stuff out. But just catching up with the chat here. Is there anything I need to mention here? You've been looking at the chat while I've been yapping.
No, I mean,
no Gator drunk raids, Steel Zealot. No more drunk raids.
Yeah.
That's blackmail material.
I do want to hear from people. Are there those of you out there that like Destiny enough? Because if you've totally stepped away and you're not coming back, no matter what, you can't really answer this question. But would you be super opposed to the subscription model? Like super, super opposed to it? And I know no one wants another subscription, but would it get you to stop playing the game is basically what I'm asking. And that's what I want to hear from, because I also like the subscription model idea, but we have to be fair, and I'm sure they're running the numbers too, if they're even considering it, of how it would affect things.
Yeah. Still Zealot says, I've dismantled almost every weapon in Revenant I've gotten. Yeah. I mean, I get that, man. I do. I mean, the Revenant weapons, really, just the look of them and everything, really hasn't gotten me excited. I do like that scout rifle though, the red tape. I'll probably farm for that a little bit more, but I mean, you looked at my rap for last year and I played a bunch of Gambit. The only reason I played a bunch of Gambit is because I was farming a Bygone. For me, it's the weapons. And I know it's different for you, Kingsley. It's not just the weapons. For me, it's the weapons, because these are your tools that you're using in PvP, and every second counts. And if you can get a roll on a weapon that works very well, that'll save you seconds and just time to kill somebody and defeat someone in Crucible, then it's worth it to me. And that's why it's all about the weapons for me. So give me something to go for, and I'll do it. So yeah.
Let us know in the Discord what you think on the subscription thing. Also, we already have a couple comments. Steel Zealot says, to me, it would be disheartening, as I've already put so much into the content so far. Zombie Pop says, with free stuff, it would be fine. Steel, again, it would be a good move for the new player base.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be, that's why I said, really the only way to get most people on board is have it be really worth it for everyone, no matter if you're a new or an older player. When they start it, say this is the reason why. And one reason could be we have all the old stuff coming back, everything, and we're doing some new model where you're getting all this stuff with your subscription, like Bright Dust all the time, who knows, whatever other things, and make that say, and this is just what we're doing. And if you want all these cool extra things, including more content than ever before, it's subscription, baby. That's the way we're going.
Think about it too. Let's just crush the numbers here. Let's face it. A majority of the people don't buy stuff from Eververse, right? They're going to either earn it with Bright Dust from, like Jimmy Rayner was talking about how he was frustrated. He couldn't get his last seasonal thing done today because they gatekeeped him. He has to wait a couple more weeks to get some of the items to drop so he can get his, 2,000 Bright Dust or 2,500 or 4,000. 4,000 Bright Dust doesn't really buy a lot, and it takes a long time to get Bright Dust right now. It's like Bungie offers it, but they're like, yeah, you want to put 90 hours in, then you can probably afford to get that ship, but we're not going to hand it to you. If they go with a subscription model, that's $12 a month. That's $144 per player. People are already paying $100 that are diehard players like us, that we buy the season and the expansions and everything in it. You're getting $40 more a year. That pays for anybody who might have spent in the Eververse store. It more than makes up for that. You're getting more money from each player with a subscription model versus hoping that they're going to go to the Eververse store and find a cool ship. I hate to tell you, Bungie, but if people aren't playing your game, they're never going to even see Eververse to even buy anything from you. So you got to open it up. You got to make everything free for everybody. Just get rid of all the confusing, this expansion, that expansion. Oh, you can't play that dungeon. You got to go to the Crucible lady. I mean, the clan lady, the bird lady, and get a dungeon key. What the hell's a dungeon key? You see what I'm saying? They just make it so difficult for themselves. Simplify it. It's easy numbers. $12 a month. Done.
Another problem with it being a 10-year game, that would be fixed if they made a Destiny 3. But yes, a subscription model, they do need to kind of like have everything included and bring back old stuff too. Yeah.
Anyway, as usual, I've way overstayed my explaining great on that. Maybe it's my ADHD kicking in. I don't know. But anyway, we do have some questions from our community before we head out tonight, and just a few, and we're going to answer those right after this. Thanks, Kingsley. That was a good conversation, man.
We didn't get to talk about the Steam chart numbers, though. We don't have to talk about it this week, but I was waiting, and I should have brought it up.
How do you? No. Tell me how you want to tie those in, because I can always record over it.
About how, like, I guess we kind of talked about it because I was talking about how the numbers have been dropping.
Mm-hmm.
No, never mind. Don't worry. But I mean, one thing I was going to say was how, like, it was disheartening on how for Act 3, I only saw 2 to 4 people online the whole day out of my 25 pages of friends list.
Yeah.
And how we were looking at the Steam chart numbers, remember, and it's still dropping. It's like it bumped up a little bit on Tuesday, but then the days after that, it went just as low as it was before Act 3 came out.
And Steel Zealot says it in the chat here. He goes, Bright Dust is capped in the Pathfinder after 7 clears a week. If you remember, yeah, it's true. They do. I don't know what Bungie's afraid of. I really don't. They put all these caps on all our materials and all the ways we can earn them. I think a long time ago in Destiny 1, there were super players that would just farm and have, like, remember the days where people had like 150,000 legendary shards, and they were like, how, then they made it where people could turn them in for currency, or they were trying to get people to chuck them and get rid of them. They made something, and that's when they brought the focusing in. They made it 50 legendary shards to focus one weapon. They were trying to get us to siphon off. They're so afraid of us farming and getting all these materials. I don't understand what they're afraid of there, because if we play the game, we're paying with our hours of time.
Yeah, I don't think they're afraid at all. They've always had caps, and they just want people to be forced to come back to use things and have caps. Yeah,
and they used to put they put
always had caps.
They put timers on bounties. I'm ditching old bitches and moans here, but I don't even care about timers on bounties anymore. I'll just grab bounties, and when they disappear, good. Save me the problem of dismantling them. Even timers on bounties are not getting me to come back and play the game again. Sorry. You might have worked in 2020 or even 2018, but it doesn't work these days. There's so many other game systems out there that work better.
Games are like that all the time. It does continue to work these days.
It doesn't work for me anymore anyway.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. But it does work in general. It does work in general for people.
Yep. And see, Stills Out, that's the problem. They used to be, you could dismantle that 8th legendary ship you got from that Ingram you got once you passed 100. You get that legendary ship, you would dismantle it, and you get like 250 bright dust. And you're like, I'm going to go through my inventory right now and start dismantling stuff that I'm never going to use. And you'd have a stack, 100. I don't know if I had 100,000, but I had a lot of bright dust back in those days. And right as Shadowkeep hit, that's when they flipped the switch. And I knew that's what they were doing. I told Hazel, that's what they're doing. They're taking our bright dust away. They're just doing it slowly. We're the frog in the pot. That's what happened. Now look, how hard is it to earn bright dust now? It's such little. I mean,
they're running a business.
I mean, think about it. We run through all of the seasonal, the episodic, whatever you want to call it, all of the bounties, the challenges to get that 4,000 bright dust. For all that work, what does 4,000 bright dust buy in Eververse? The hot shit ship is 3,500. So you got 500 left to buy what? A couple shaders? See what I'm talking about? It's too expensive. Offer liberally, keep the prices the same, but offer more liberal amounts of people to farm it. Okay, I'm done. Let's get to some questions.
It's stupid for them to do that unless they do subscription.
Yeah.
Other games do this too, Todd. Yeah. It's like, I know you don't like it. I don't even know if I like it, but it's just to make more money as a business. You either do this nickel and diming
emote
free-to-play games all the time where you have to wait and you can't hold unlimited materials, or subscription.
Yep.
And at least with subscription, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
that's why I like it too. I mean, also with my customers, that's one of the biggest things I talk them into, setting up a monthly contract with them.
Yeah.
Like my small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually probably charge them way too low, but I kind of give them an example. I'm like, so if you were only going to use me this time, one off, these are the prices. And I'm going to give you a monthly price that's probably too good to be true, but at least I'll keep them on a monthly contract. Yes. And at least, and then I tell them, like, you don't have to worry about, like, oh, you have a small issue, but you want to save it up because you don't want to spend a service charge to get me to come out. But then just think, if you were just paying up front a monthly price, you can know your budget. It'll never go up. Well, I mean, very rarely over the years.
You have to raise for inflation every year.
Yeah, but it won't go up.
Not substantially.
Within your contract or whatever. And then, but you get unlimited support from me. You really do for most of my customers.
It makes sense.
You don't have to nickel and dime.
You're giving up some of your profitability in exchange for more certainty of income. That's exactly my business model too, in my pest control business. The same way. You're giving up a little bit. People can pay you $500 for the initial treatment on their yard, or they can pay $250 and have me keep up the lawn for every 2 months for, I don't know, $150 a month, every treatment. And most people go with that because, a lawn is something you have to keep maintaining anyway. I love these people who want me to come and kill their weeds, and then they call me again next spring. I got tons of weeds. I was like, I shot it one time. What do you expect, man? Nothing in life is for free, but we're willing to, anyway, with subscription service models, route models and stuff, that certainty of income, we'll make probably less money if we instead of nickel and diming people, but those people are there, and that's guaranteed, and that's loyal customers. It just goes all down the pike, and it applies to gaming as well. So, just like a quarterly service in Bug World, I do every month, every other month.
I don't know if I'd say I'd made less. I've actually probably made more money over time.
You don't need to tell them that.
Of course.
But I'm just talking to the public here. Over time, you're building up your route. It's like you're building up. All these customers are assets, and each customer has a number that they're paying in every year. Yeah. That customer's not paying $150 every 2 months. They're paying me $1,200 a year. That's $1,200 toward my end income. Welcome to the Business Podcast.
Around subscription model, because the unfortunate truth is you would only be playing all that content. Well, I mean, again, maybe you have the option for just the new DLC if you don't want the subscription model. But if you wanted to play all the content, you're only playing that if you're paying the subscription. So they know that at least for people to play their game, they have guaranteed income.
But they have to bring Red War back. They have to have the same start that we all did when we played Destiny 2. We can't do anything about Destiny 1. And they're probably not going to, I know the lights came on at the tower and it was just a schedule bug or something that was programmed that was an error. I would hope that they would bring back a Destiny original origins, like a Destiny origin story or something, but I don't see Destiny 1. I don't know. I just don't see it coming back. Okay, let's get some questions here real quick. We just got a few, Kingsley. Shouldn't take but a few minutes here. I want to start out with, we'll end on our speak pipe. How about that? Let's see. Questions for the show. All right. This is a good question for you, Kingsley. This is from Zombie Pops. Here, let me start it officially here for our audio listeners. All right, boys and girls, it's that time of our show where we get our questions from you guys. And I want to start out here from a non-Destiny question from one of our patrons, Zombie Pops. And he says, I'm going to be building a budget gaming PC. What are some must-have programs on a computer that y'all would recommend? And you're the guy, man. You're the guy who would tell them.
Actually, I'm not very specifically on this question. I'm not good to answer because I do most stuff on the Apple side, and my gaming PC is truly only for games. And I would actually tell you, and I know most people can't do this, but I would say don't load anything else on it. Only use it for games. But most people don't have that luxury. See, I have a gaming PC, and then I have a separate laptop for all my work stuff and browsing and stuff. And so if there is a way you can work it so you only use it as a gaming PC, it'll be cleaner. But even not being in the Windows world as much, the obvious caveats I can give you, load Malwarebytes. It's really the best free virus checking software you can get.
Very good.
It's very lightweight. It doesn't bog down your computer like all these other programs. You don't need to sign up for the subscription.
No.
The subscription, it is good if you have the money and if you are in a business setting, it'll check
I have the
for
prescription
you all the time. Yeah. But what the free one does is it doesn't check for you. You have to go into the program and click the scan button. So I would recommend, if you want to save money, you load the free version and you set a calendar item to check it once a month. Go into the program and run a scan.
Yeah, it's very thorough, and just make sure you keep updating it with the latest information. I've used Malwarebytes for a long time.
And the other tips I would give, even if it's just for gaming, is make sure you keep all your drivers up to date. A lot of people like, oh, I hate the updates and stuff, but especially for the NVIDIA or AMD drivers, you really should be going into the program and telling it to update from time to time because it can fix a lot of things you may not be aware of. Run your Windows updates.
Yep. It's good to have a manager that can do it for you. There's all kinds of systems out there that can help you. Even the ones built into Windows will help you with that. I know I'm more on the Windows side. Kingsley.
Other programs, I mean, of course, you're going to have Steam on there. You're probably going to have maybe
Discord.
Epic. They have some free games.
Download the Discord app. Makes it run a lot faster. Doesn't take as much RAM.
Of course, you're going to have Discord on there. I mean, yeah. So I can't answer it. I can't be like one of these PC experts that.
Well, I can add a few.
Yeah.
I can add a few things. I know you're from more of an AMD guy too. I use NVIDIA graphic cards, and I always have the NVIDIA running all the time because it'll pop up and tell me when a new driver's due, needs to be updated. I would recommend having whatever browser you like to use. I like Google Chrome because it's compatible with just about everything. Download your favorite browser. I usually like to pin it because I don't want to have to look for it all the time, and I don't like shortcuts on I like my desktop clean. I don't like a bunch of icons everywhere. I like to have my beautiful I'll show you. No, I can't show you because it won't pop up. But I have still the Pale Heart, the dark forest scenes in the Pale Heart. I still got that plastered on all four of my displays. I love that. I love that world. It's just beautiful how they put it together. But he says, I don't use a PC for work, so just games only. Yeah. The least amount of things that suck up your RAM, your working memory, you want to keep as few things running in the background as possible. So keep that in mind that if you go to your task manager and see what runs in the background, you'd be amazed. That computer's working a lot. And bandwidth, remember, stuff is always pulling from bandwidth as well while programs are running too. You got to keep that in mind. Try not to pin too much stuff at the base of your PC because that leaves it kind of open. And when it's open, it means it is taking some of your RAM space, some of your operating memory, to at least keep it open and keep it minimally functioning. So keep that in mind. That's about it. I mean, you add stuff as you want to. I mean, I use my PC. I have a 4080 NVIDIA, but because I do high definition editing, video editing, and I have to have that power. I've used lesser video cards and they bog, and the thing sounds like a damn airplane's taking off because it's trying to keep itself cool. There's one thing, rendering videos for like YouTube and stuff takes a lot of GPU power. So keep that in mind that if you do any kind of editing using editing software, like I use DaVinci Resolve, I love it. It's free, by the way. It's very good for that kind of stuff, but it might not be for you, Zombie. If you're playing games, like I said, if you're playing games, they're going to take a lot of your GPU space, depending on the game and how crystal clear you want it, or how many frames you want to see it play. You can tone that down with whatever computer you get. You can adjust all those settings and figure out what works best for you. And you might want to get a good Wouldn't you say, Kingsley, a good static tester? What do they call those? The load testers that they put on these computers. I can't think of the name. Anyway, they're a program that what they do is it runs a visual scene and it maxes out your GPU, and it basically tells you where it stress tests your GPU on what it's capable of doing, and it'll give you all the information at the end and tell you what you can run your max settings at on all your games and stuff.
Well, every game,
it's on the tip of my tongue.
There is something like that because every game's different.
And this is a program that runs like a. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
How's it going to know what every game is possible? Because
not
all games.
It runs a very busy visual, it runs like a test game that it's based on in the background, and it monitors what your PC's doing to work to keep it clear. And they have like several different screens where it's on the tip of my tongue.
But what is it telling you?
It's telling you you're basically how far you can push your GPU. Geez, somebody please help me with this term. It's driving me nuts.
Games just push it as far as it can anyways, each individual game.
Yeah.
So I really just don't
it's like a stress test program.
Yeah.
Benchmarking. A benchmark program. What I'm talking about, a benchmark.
Okay, but you can get those. The providers provide the benchmarks from the cards.
Okay.
From NVIDIA.
Well, yeah, I use an outside one, but yeah. Exactly. It tests your frames rates and stuff. A difference. Yeah, exactly. Katsuo. Exactly. Okay, moving on. Thanks, Zombie Pops.
Some hardware will also tell you that they compare all the video cards next to each other, and you can kind of see if like getting a 4080 is that much better than a 4070.
But Kingsley, I'm not an expert like you, okay? I don't know this stuff.
Oh, I'm not either, but I was just really shaking my head with that program you were talking about.
Rodimus had a question. He said, so we're doing a top 10 list on DPS, and we talked about top 10 food to eat at the movies. He goes, Gator, since you are an AMC Stubbs A-list member, I added the A-list part because I am an A-list member. Can you please verify if you can buy churros and hummus at the theater? Now, Kings, you got to help me out. Hummus and churros.
So churros is going to be rare, but it could be a possibility. We have one theater chain that's local in kind of Utah, Idaho area called Megaplex Theaters, and some of them will have really fancy like actual food line, like different restaurants inside and stuff. And then it kind of gets to the point of it, is this really quote movie theater food, or are they just subletting out? But like, no, they're not subletting out to like Taco Bell or something, but they make stuff in house. And I feel like I've seen churro. And in fact, I feel like when I was a kid growing up, churros were even a thing, but I would say 80% of theaters don't have churros. And I would say 100% of theaters probably don't have hummus.
Well, the way AMC breaks it up is they break it up into treats and snacks, and they've really come a long way. I mean, they offer chicken tenders, sliders, Impossible nuggets. Oh, that sounds gross. Flatbread pizzas, curly fries, mozzarella sticks, pretzel bites, Bavarian Legend pretzel, mac and cheese bites. That just sounds gross. Movie nachos, extra cheese cups, and extra cups for stuff. Of course, hot dogs, pickles, popcorn, and candy. I mean, they have everything under the sun. They have donut hole candy. And they have lifestyle snacks like, fruit gummies, true fruit, chocolate strawberries, like real ritzy stuff.
Yeah.
Dark almond. Yeah.
Hummus, right?
For people who have more of eclectic taste of more fancy taste of treats and snacks. I don't see churros, and I don't see hummus. Sorry.
So all the things you mentioned are kind of like our Cinemark or AMC's out here.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of your AMCs have like a fancier, like a kitchen, like where they can make like hamburgers?
Yes.
Or
yes.
They're things like that?
Yeah. Disney Springs, we go to the dine-in AMC, and they offer probably a little bit more on the menu. And you know what? Let's just look at the AMC on Disney Springs. Let's just look and see what's available there.
While you're looking that up, I want to give a real quick comment of, I know this, we're not doing a top 10, but I'm going to break it down into just like lesser option, and then talk about the kitchen one, like what we're talking about right now.
Sure.
If you're just going to a regular theater, for me, one of my top options is just getting nachos. It's boring, but at least they'll all have it.
Yep.
Nachos and with jalapenos I like. And then if I'm at the kitchen one, I get a quesadilla, and they make really good quesadillas. They'll put like some sweet pork or like steak or even just a cheese quesadilla, and they're pretty big and pretty good quality. That's what I get if I go to the fancier one.
Well, I hate to disappoint, but the dine-in has exactly the same menu. So they pretty much standardized their offerings. But the dine-in, the difference is, of course, the theaters are a little smaller, but they have the fold-over tables where you can actually eat while you're watching a movie. Nothing like someone smacking and eating food and hearing them chomp on stuff while you're watching a movie. I've never been a fan of it. But not to mention, my God, that must be a pain to keep those theaters clean. I'd hate to be the guy that has to go in there and clean that place up afterwards, especially with kids. Oh, they grab shit and throw it everywhere, drop it, don't tell anybody. Yeah. So, yeah, that hopefully that answers your question, Rodimus. And MJ2, another patron of the Guardian Downcast community, following up on the top 5 convos, what movies and TV shows are you most looking forward to in 2025? Kind of putting us on the spot here.
I mean, I don't even know everything that's coming out.
I have some future movies that I can tell you at least some movies that are coming up. I know they're bringing back Hollywood Squares next week or this week. I'm actually looking forward to watching that on TV. It's just on CBS or.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I watched that as a kid, and it's always pretty cool. But there's some movies. Yeah, I can mention some movies here. Wolfman is coming out next week. We'll be watching that. The Brutalist I mentioned. Flight Risk on January 24th. That's Mark Wahlberg. There's a movie called Mickey 17. It's out at the end of this month. Robert Pattinson plays it's a clone. He plays a clone, and they recycle his clone bodies for testing. They're testing what the humans can put up with. Or I guess he's like a test rat that they just keep making another one of them. And it ends up where they both meet each other. The other clone didn't die, and they actually meet each other in the same bed where they sleep, and they're freaking out. So it looked funny. Ballerina, we mentioned that from the world of John Wick. This is the female John Wick movie coming out. I don't know when that's coming out. Captain America Brave New World. It's February 14th. I probably won't be seeing it. I'll probably watch it on Disney afterwards because my wife does not like watching Marvel movies. Severance, I want to finish. Season 2 just came out. I want to watch that. I've still got to finish The Boys. Slow Horses has a new season out on Apple TV. What else? Silo, I need to finish. There's another thriller kind of scary kind of show called Before. It's kind of like Sixth Sense, where this kid can sense dead people and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, that I want to see. And The Agency on Paramount Plus. I want to finish that up. There's a lot left to watch on that as well. So those are just off the top of my head, what I've written down that I've looking forward to.
Like 20 things.
Well, I mean, I always write stuff that I'm looking forward to seeing in case people ask.
I'm looking over, I did pull up a list of things that are coming out throughout the whole year. And I actually do have 2 big ones I'm looking forward to for 2025. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Oh. And yes. Tron Ares is supposedly coming out in 2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Those are, I will definitely be there for those. That's for sure. We did have a Destiny question here from Running Red Lion. He says, I just finished my last Triumph for the Dawning about a half an hour before the reset that ended the event. What is your closest call that you can think of where getting something done or getting something to drop came down to the wire? You think of anything, Kingsley? I got a moment where I fell short, but I made up for it later.
Spirit of the question, but no.
All right, I'm not answering the question.
I feel like there's something more than the answer I'm going to give, but Pantheon got pretty darn close.
Yeah.
I think when we finished it, it was, and for a lot of people, it got really close. I think actually when I finished it, there was still a couple days left.
Okay.
Because we knew, though, probably ended on a Tuesday reset. So when we say a couple days, that's probably talking like a Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
So that basically was end of the line for us anyways. We wouldn't probably have been able to get back together on a Sunday or a Monday or something. But I know people like Sin tried to go in after the fact, and other people were like working up until the last minute. So for me, that's probably close enough. A couple, something that big, and just a couple days before. It wasn't literally right before it ended. I feel like I have another answer, but I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was yours that you missed out on that it went over?
It was the Into the Light. I procrastinated.
Oh,
It
yeah.
probably was something I was busy doing because it's springtime, and it caught me off guard. And I thought I had time to. Remember you had to rank up shacks all the way to unlock the super black shader.
Yep.
I was kicking myself, but then they brought it back. I think on the Halloween event, and I love that shader. It's on everything I have now. I thought it wouldn't work good on warlocks. I thought the cloth armor that the warlocks wear a lot, the leather stuff, that it wouldn't look good, but man, it looks fantastic. I look like death, man, when I walk around. I got my what is it? My old 1900s with the beak and the cold dead eyes with the hat on, the flat, like the 1920s doctors back in the day. I don't know what you call them, but I love that look. I haven't changed that armor in a long time. So I had a comment from someone in the Discord here. This is from Shadow V. He says, this community we have in this Discord is really like family. The mutual understanding in times like this is great. And we all love Destiny. So I wanted to just take the time to thank everyone here on the Discord, especially to Todd the Gator for creating this space for everyone. Well, I'd like to take credit for that, but all I can do is open the server up. You guys have to join it. I remember when it was just myself, Easy and probably RNGGator. I think you were in there very early, Kingsley. We all were just sitting around saying, okay. And I think you guys were like 6 months ahead of us, maybe 5 months ahead of us, Kingsley, with your podcast and your server.
Like 4. I mean, technically, I had another little small Discord before we started Guardian Hub, but officially it was only like 4 months before.
Well, thanks, Shadow V. That was nice of you to say. I appreciate that. But I wish I could take credit for it, but it's all the awesome people in this community that still love to play Destiny and still love to put games together. And this man right here who got us a new bot that can put games together so easily for everyone in our Discord. It's so much fun. It's so easy to do now. You just go to the Owl Sector bot. You can look and see what everyone's set up. And if it's not full, you can just join it. And it'll give you a reminder. You can put it in your calendar. I mean, it's the easiest way to join a game and jump in and have fun. So, yeah, I appreciate that comment. All right, we're going to go out with a voicemail. Someone sent in a voicemail last week, a speak pipe. And this is Ray. He just goes by Ray. So I'm going to play it now. And let me know if you can hear it, okay?
Hey there, guys. Really appreciate the show. Please never quit. And let's hopefully get to episode 300 sooner than later, right? Just wanted to ask, even with the state of Destiny 2 seeming quite grim at the moment, which is unfortunate that something I've been playing since I was just 14 just doesn't give me the endorphins that I crave much anymore. But still, with so much love for the game and Guardian Downcast podcast, thank you so much, you guys. I figured I'd ask a really quick question. If you were to own one single exotic of your choice from Destiny 1 or Destiny 2 in real life, which would it be and why? Thank you so much, you guys. Much love.
Thanks, Ray. If that really is your name. Thanks, man. I appreciate you sending that in. It was nice of you. By the way, speakpipe.com /Guardian Downcast. It's that easy he recorded on his phone. Just go to a quiet place, hit the big red record button, talk into the phone like you're talking to somebody on your phone. Leave us a comment, leave us a question, anything, and just hit stop and then put your gamer tag so we know who it's from, and just hit send. It's that easy. It goes right to our voicemail, or not to our voicemail, to our email system, and we'll grab it. And if we like what we hear, we'll put it on the show, just like with Ray here. So thanks, Ray, for sending that in. Kingsley, an exotic in real life from either Destiny that you would want to keep like in your house, I guess, or whatever in real life. I have two. Sorry.
Technically wise, I think Telesto would be most interesting, but I'm still gonna have to go with Sunshot. It's just gonna look cool in real life too.
Oh yeah, Sunshot's a big gun in real life too. Things like huge. If you look at it when where your character in third person. I've got two. I would love to go with the Invective shotgun, because if someone enters my house, I'd love to have a shotgun that just keeps loading itself. So anyway, that would just be awesome. I've always liked shotguns in real life, not in the game. I hate shotguns in the game. The real one though would be probably my, in real life, because I like assault rifles, I would probably want to go with my Revision Zero to have that dual scope. That is such a luxury on a real gun now, to have a flip scope like that. Only a lot of the military weapons have those flip scopes, but to have a Revision Zero with a 2-shot, I like burst shot weapons. I like burst fire weapons. So that would probably be mine, would be Revision Zero Ray. So thanks for the question. I was just looking at the on the things that people miss by a wire. Some of the chat was chiming in here. I think Steel Zealot was the one who said, what was it? Katsuo Fujita missed out on turning in like 48 gifts in return because I woke up late. Oh man, I'm sorry, that has happened to me as well. And you're like, where did all them go? Well, they disappeared into ether, because that activity is done. Man, I've done that. I forgot to turn in stuff. You're not alone there, Katsuo, because that sucks, man. That really sucks. Did you ever get any of the emblems? You didn't play the Dawning, right, Kingsley? Not much.
No,
I never got the emblems. And I think the reason why is I was listening to Two Titans and a Hunter this week. By the way, their last week's show was really great. They got into some really good conversations about physical and digital content and stuff. If you haven't caught that episode yet, it's their post New Year's and Christmas show, I think is what it's titled. Check that episode out. It was really good. But they mentioned that I think Night Demon got 2 of the 3 emblems because he turned in like a ton of gifts in return. Here's the problem. And this goes back to the problem with Destiny. What if I want to use all those materials to focus some of the weapons? Because you have to decide what you're going to use that essence for, or the dawning, whatever. You got to decide if you're going to use them in gifts of return, or what you're going to use them for. If you're going to craft more stuff to get more gifts in return that you only get every so often from a vendor that you're giving a cookie to, you have to decide what to do. And the fact that I went to DC the last week of Dawning, I never had the opportunity to get that done. So there's another example. So, yeah.
Well, wait, what are you saying? Dawning should just stick around forever?
No. I'm just saying that I think they should have made those emblems fall in other ways other than just gifts in return, because not everyone does gifts in return. In fact, I don't remember anybody turning in gifts in return hardly at all, because you never got anything for it. I'd rather spend those Dawning, whatever. There's 2 different. You get the essence, and then you got the Dawning spirit, and you only have limited things you can use them for. And I wanted to use them to focus and get some more weapons, which means I didn't have the currency to buy the cookies to get the gifts in return. That's all volume to turn into Eva to get possibly an emblem to drop. So I never got any of those emblems. So I was kind of bummed out, but I only had 2 weeks to play it. I didn't have the full 3 weeks like some of you guys did. So, yep.
Supposedly they were easy to get if you just did the gifts of return, and people in the chat are saying they also got 2 out of 3. So maybe it only worked out where most people only got 2.
And maybe, that 3rd week they might have increased the drop rate too, because they realized people weren't getting it either. Because the first week I didn't hear anybody getting it. Yeah, they had to be opened. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Oh, they had to be opened. You didn't have to turn them in. Geez, if I would have known that. Katsuo Fujita, I did focus engrams for weapons, mostly intended to save gifts for last minute. Oops. Oh, well. Yeah. Well, you got some good rolls. Yeah. And some emblems. All right, cool. Good for you, man. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone who came out to the show tonight. We had a great time. Lots of good conversations tonight. We did go over again. Sorry, Kingsley. I always try to keep it under 2 hours. Looks like we're right at that 3-hour mark. But usually when I edit stuff down, it's usually under that 3-hour mark. So
it's just live,
a lot of extra fluff stuff. Exactly. So so I wanted to thank everyone who came out tonight to interact with us.
Great convos.
Yeah, we had a lot of great conversations tonight. If you haven't already, hit the like button, do the subscribe and notification bell stuff if you want to know when we're doing stuff in the future. If you haven't subbed already, throw a sub in there. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. And it helps me out with the YouTube gods out there. So appreciate if you could do that for me. And thank you, Kingsleymac. Where can people find you out there, sir, if they want to contact you?
Yeah, find me as Kingsleymac in all the Discords and everywhere, and however I can help you out. DM me even if you need. I'm doing a little bit on Blue Skies, Kingsleymac, even less on X, but I still have the account, and maybe I'll find some way where I can cross-post to both easily. Yeah. But mostly in the Discord.
I hear you, man. Well, thanks for sticking it out with us tonight. Thank you, chat, for sticking it out with us. If you want to join our community, it's all right there on our screen. Discord.gg/GuardianDownCast is where you can join our awesome community. Yeah, Destiny may be down, but our community is not. We're still playing activities every week. I see it. Our voice channels, the many voice channels we have, people are playing games all the time, usually at night, but we have day players as well. So check us out. Jump into our Discord if you haven't already, and just say hi. You can lurk. You don't have to, you don't have to post so many things a month or we kick you out. I mean, come on, give me a break. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I'll see you in the Discord. Later, Guardian.
Have a good one.